Welcome back, everybody, to the Paladins Premier League Week 3. It is time for our headline match between Fnatic and NAVI.
Probably the biggest rematch you could have. I mean, it came down to the finals at PWC. It was these two teams, and NAVI pretty much made it look clean, easy, almost as though it was nothing. It was just clean sweep, 4-0 for them. This is the time for Fnatic potentially to turn it around and kind of showcase how strong they are.
And both of the teams have been steamrolling their way through the PPL so far this season, but have yet to come head-to-head. So undefeated strikes so far, but only one can actually come out on top. Do you think that this is going to be a bit more of a duking out match than what we saw at the PWC, or a repeat?
I mean, based on the interview, I'm assuming the Fnatic are still feeling themselves a little bit. They're still expecting a little bit more, but honestly, I mean, both of them have looked unstoppable coming up against each other. NAVI maybe has that leg up, not only because of the past history, but just because the way they've been playing has been borderline unstoppable. This one's really going to ride the fence. If there was going to be a second set to go 5 games today, I think it would be this one.
And we just got to see Fnatic play very dominating fashion from them. And even though, as Nick mentioned, it's hard to really be able to go and highlight specific plays from Thiel and Jera in that because of the fact that the flanks are just flying around doing their whole thing. The fact is, Thiel has been a very consistent player. He's used to being a solo frontliner for the team as well.
And it's one of those things that he has been, during that entire engagement, and during pretty much the entire last set, not killable, essentially, when it came down to it. I mean, when things came through, of course, it's going to be a little help from Jera as well, keeping him going, but he was able to impress the fact that he could potentially be a carry. He's not supposed to be a carry in matches like this. He's supposed to be the one that doesn't die, and yet he was still able to pick up kills, focusing on the objective, leading his team in pretty much exactly the way you'd want him to, and I still think, to this day, wanting Makoa.
And I think the fact that we're seeing ever since OB68 took place, some more of that solo frontline become the norm. Yeah. That having somebody that has been used to playing that in the past and being able to continue doing so in a victorious faction is going to be an advantage potentially as time goes on.
And it feels like the meta has pretty much dropped right into his lap, because I mean, you come into the point where a lot of the front lines that are big right now are the ones that are going to be a little bit more aggressive. Fernando making a rise. Makoa, if he makes it through, is obviously going to get picked up, but Inara, as well as Ashe being able to kind of step up. Things that he was very heavily favoring during PWC, now maybe going to be able to make their way for Fnatic here with some of the changes.
And you mentioned it that NAVI has been looking unstoppable so far in this season, and we know that they didn't take that much of a break after the PWC. They wanted to continue working hard to continue with that streak, but in case you haven't got to see a taste of these fellas, let's go ahead and introduce the members of NAVI.
Double kill from Creatives though, triple kill, quadra kill.
Potentially, and it will be triggered here. 4,000 damage ripping through for the triple kill push, successful.
And he says, no, baby. Okay.
Every single shot, and that cursed revolver looking for more as he's able to hit on the back end of Revolver. What a flick shot! Are you kidding me?
Kid takes out Elfenpath though, but Unbelievable is alive. Unbelievable with a double down Red Serpent coming out from Spunky, and that's gonna seal the deal.
Always clean, always solid. This roster is the same that you saw at the PWC and continuing off that momentum.
And honestly, a very deadly roster. I mean, Phoenix as the one that was kind of leading the forefront as the front line. He's going to be the one going up, I guess, in the main matchup against Thiel. But you saw from that what creatives, what Mutu can do, and all of it, I feel like, kind of being geared pretty much through their healer.
And going into the finals of the PWC, one of the things that we noted was Thiel and Spunky, because of the fact that they came from championship caliber, but they were on opposite sides going into that final, and only one was able to walk away with a second ring. So maybe Spunky has to be feeling a little bit of the awesomeness of that feeling, but then Thiel a little bit of the sting.
I wonder if he wears both of them while he plays, if maybe that kind of enhances it. I mean, his healing is always on point, and it's one of those things that you get to see it a little bit more often. Not necessarily the ones that get highlighted every single time, but the ones that keep everything running. They're the mechanics, the healers, and Spunky specifically, with the way he sets up his team. You give him Aldamba, the stun is going to become way more impactful than you'll see it in some of the hands like Virtus Pro, maybe Mouse Sports. It becomes a completely different beast when you give it to someone at this caliber.
When you have someone this consistent, the thing is, if you're a flank, if you're DPS, whatever it may be, and you're trying to get your job done, you don't want to have to worry about getting topped off by somebody or having to call out for it all the time. So Spunky has great instincts of where he needs to be with the rest of the team and just, quite frankly, doing his job.
And it was just one of those moments, I'm having like flashbacks to it, just seeing it there on Serpent Beach was a point where Mouse Sports, in any other scenario, any other team, they would have easily had a fight. And it just came down to the fact that Spunky, with his reaction time and a Dread Serpent, really just disrupted their team, stopped them from having any impact. And being able to have that kind of impact, I guess, on a game really does change up what you can do as a healer. Instead of just, hey, I'm pumping out the numbers, keeping you going, it's, I'm not only keeping you alive, but I'm making sure that you have an easier time making everything happen.
And so going into this next match, it's not going to be any Fish Market or Jaguar Falls. It's our headline match, everybody, so don't forget to share your thoughts and everything. Go ahead and feel free to use hashtag PPL on Twitter. Be kind of combing through those to see what y'all have to say, but Frog Isle is going to be our first destination.
So much can happen on Frog Isle. I mean, we've seen it be a 4-3 today. We've seen it be a 4-0 today. It can honestly go either way, and both of these teams are very close. Both of them love their flanks. Both of them love snipers. It really is up in the air as to how the draft will go, who decides to get what, and where the priority is going to be. Because, I mean, we've seen a lot of EV bans, and it came through. Fnatic showed off exactly what they can do when they get it.
Yep, so let's go ahead and hop on into it. The thing is, both of these teams, whether you look at Fnatic during the last segment or you look at NAVI during the last couple weeks, have been very adaptable to the changes, and they have no problem playing around with whether it's bringing out just a single front line, going with something a bit more traditional. And so far, no one wants to deal with the snipers.
And I really like that kind of patience that came through. I mean, when you have Strix get banned away and you're Fnatic, you have to think, all right, do we let them have Kinessa? Do we give that over to them, or do we just go ahead and ban it, but leave something open? I mean, you don't have Makoa, you don't have Torvald, you don't have Eevee, you don't have any of these flanks that have been very high priority to get rid of, and they leave open the Makoa. Whether or not Navi want it that badly is the big question.
Yeah, so without those and without the Torvald, without the Ruckus, I think we can expect to see a Makoa somewhere on one of these rosters. But the question is, exactly how are things going to be revolving around that?
That was 100% the contemplation of, do we grab it, or do we risk letting Thiel have it? Because Thiel loves his Makoa. Thiel hasn't gotten to really play Makoa competitively in a long time. Leaving it open, maybe hoping for it to come down, but you do force the decision. Do you want this tank that could potentially be a big favor for you? Do you want to go for the Cassie, which we have seen be pretty much the top pick for a lot of these teams all day?
Very prioritized throughout. And one thing about Makoa, too, is you talk about the fact that the hitbox has been changed for the anchor. And while maybe in lower levels of play and everything, that's going to have a huge impact, here it's more the verticality aspect of it if you're trying to grab somebody off of that high ground. But other than that very specific aspect, then someone like Thiel or whoever may be navigating it is usually going to be able to hit at that same caliber as prior.
And luckily this one, you're probably not going to see quite as many vertical misses, just there's not going to be as many scenarios that you're put in. It's not going to be Serpent Beach. It's not going to be any of the other maps where verticality plays a big motion. Of course, your point is a little bit lower, so you do still have to look up for some of these, but I'm mainly looking at him kind of the way that we've seen a lot of these front lines play today, where it's just, I'm going to, maybe with Master Riding, run as fast as I can to the point and just plant myself there, hope that nothing happens to me too bad, my healer keeps me going, and with Makoa or a Nara on the other side, just deal enough damage that the carries can follow up.
Yeah, we'll be facing off against the Nara, and there's the Leon locked in as well, so really solid when you get that Maldamba plus a Nara combination. And yet to lock in a healer on the side of Navi, waiting things out a little bit. Maybe expect to see the Genos come through because, I mean, Spunky is very comfortable on that, as are many supports.
And you get pretty much the deadly combo that is going to be the Genos Zen, the Genos Buck if you want to, and Shaolin, throw them all into the mix, give them all just a little bit of damage, because with the way things have been going, being able to keep up that Astra mark, make sure everybody's getting a little piece of the Luminary, and no big surprises that it comes through, because every single member on Navi hitting just a little bit harder could make this a very rough set for Fnatic.
Shaolin, Zen, Buck, even Makoa's got some punch to him. That's going to be a lot to deal with, especially when you can get those multiple astral marks off. And Fnatic rounding things out with the BK.
I like the pickup. I like the way they've drafted this. They have a lot of really good damage, and they're still trying to keep it at range. The problem is how do they deal with the flanks? To me, that's going to be the big setup. Zen, Buck, definitely going to be able to go into the back line. I mean, we just saw what Fnatic could do with Buck on this map, so now going into the hands of NAVI, maybe are they going to be more skilled? Are they going to be able to show them up?
Lots of potential on both sides. I mean, we saw Fisheko on the BK during game number 1 of the last set and proved to be pretty dominating, but two very terrific teams facing off. Only one is going to remain undefeated after this set, so let's go ahead and get it started.
Interesting. Setting up this historic matchup here that's going to determine first place. That draft has me thinking quite a bit. Rain Day,
Me too, honestly. I'm just like
going in. I think it's a level of chess where you know you're essentially knowing that they know what you want to do, and they know they know what you want to do, and your game evolves in that way. I think that's kind of what they're doing right now.
So I'm going to try to put this so it makes sense. About halfway through the draft, right? And also, Fnatic's tweeting this morning, trying to play DPS, trying to keep up with these high fraggers. So that makes me think that's like more of what they're going to be playing today. So far, all we've seen is Leon from him. So about halfway through this draft, Navi already has Zen locked in, and they go for Maldon, but Fnatic does. So I'm like, they're letting Genos go to this Zen. They've already got this Cassie. Are they trying to get this Leon away from Phoenix as well and go for this more? Because there's no snipers. We're going to get this Cassie. We're going to get this Leon. We're going to get this like decent like mid to long range composition here for Frog Isle and play that. Meanwhile, getting Phoenix off what we think he could be his only comfort pick on DPS.
What's weird though is that if your idea is to get away the pairing of Genos, also to get the Leon, you could have taken the Genos instead of the Damba and still taken the Leon based on when they did that, because they took Damba third.
I think they like Damba and Ara better though.
Yeah, and then that's probably the synergy between Jera and Thiel that's prioritizing their decisions here. So we can maybe see a little bit of that. Not as sincere if you think they're going to win. Leave a like, heart if you think Fnatic's going to take this one home. But no one really knows here heading into this one. I think Makoa being available and played as well in one of the most high-tier matchups, that's another just how and why. And, you know, I think there's just a lot of meta going on between these two teams.
For sure, guys. This is going to be a barn burner between Nadas Vincier and Fnatic. The battle for Europe. 2 undefeated squads through 3 weeks of play. First time they've come across each other in all of that time. Frog Isle. This is an older map video. Looks a little bit different now. Most of that foliage is now gone. Hasn't really affected the gameplay, in my opinion, too much.
It really hasn't. Frozen Guard really the biggest gameplay change in my eyes as far as the updated maps. We haven't seen what has gone on in Ice Mites too often, but I think that as far as a point fight, that is goes the way of Frozen Guard. Starting off with some Havens as well. No snipers. All banned out between both these teams. They don't want to play within that meta. They want to play around it. Unbelievable. As you mentioned, will be on that Makoa and Phoenix playing that damage. It's the Sha Lin this time, though. So we'll have to see if this Leon pick really pays off.
I mean, it is all direct damage, sure, and we're seeing every Fnatic damage dealer starting with Haven instead of Cauterize. So healing will be flowing freely, and when you're looking at Buck, man, that's kind of
Death and Taxes, possibly, and also look at Cassie Blast Shot for Kinetics. They do have that anti-heal. So maybe just saying, let's give ourselves a little bit of an extra leg up in this trade. It's an ensnare from Mutu. This is exactly what we'd be looking at here for the Buck, just using that net shot and reducing the cooldown by 7.5 seconds. And it is just so much damage, and this is something that I'm so glad we're getting a chance to see.
My goodness gracious, and already a difference in style here. Bittner still playing bulk up, but Mutu, very careful play. We know that's how it is. Look at that cooldown, man. 2.5 freaking seconds.
Yep. And I mean,
wild.
What are you going to do? Unbelievable. Spunky find a couple, but Thiel, Fisheko trade out as well. 57% for Navi on the point. Fnatic yet to really find any dominance there, yet to assert there is unbelievable. Getting Jera for free. And it's Bittner now running away. I don't think he has this matchup in the bag, especially with the Astral Mark now onto the Turtle. They've got 81%. They might be able to come back. The 3 damage dealers, though, don't look like enough.
Unbelievable. Doesn't go for the hook there even. Heat Haze coming out real early. 2-minute Heat Haze for Phoenix. Looking good. Feeling good. When you look at over at Zen, who up until right then was at 30-something% on his ultimate. Phoenix Doesn't appear to be really slowing Not Sincere down in the DPS position.
And I mean, honestly, I'm not. I mean, it looks like he's more natural fit to DPS than Cloud is. And you can sometimes see that with guys where, you know, they play front lines or they play flex like a Ruckus, but they come from a frontline background and flex onto the Ruckus, and they have that mechanical prowess and the patience. And then you see guys like Phoenix who maybe come from a DPS background. I'm actually not sure, but it feels like he's easily swapping over. And Fnatic with the triple kill, shutting all conversation down aside from himself. One of the best bomb kings in the business, for sure.
Slow down there, folks. Slow down. We're not getting blown out here yet. 96% on the King Bomb as well. Fnatic starting to come online with a lot of these ultimates. And there's the King Bomb. I actually want to take a look at Creative's loadout here. He's going for the Yomi style. And one of the best, I think, Xin players out there. One of the best just players, period, out there. He's gone for a pretty balanced loadout. Big investment in his health. And Zin's one of those characters that doesn't really need anything, so it's just more about what you want and how you want to play it.
Yeah, and really, I mean, this is a super standard and already getting so much damage there through time and space as well. Phoenix capitalizes off the pressure, finds himself a double, and Spittner goes down. Could it be 3? Triple kill for Phoenix to start it off. Almost gets the quadra, but Unbelievable was there to steal the Thunder, and all of Fnatic have dropped down.
My goodness, not exactly the way you expect that to go, but Shaolin can be such an explosive character when you play him correctly. He's sitting at 2,200 HP. So big investments into HP just across the board for Not Sincere.
And you can see that Haven, it is paying off. 1150 would have been, or actually maybe even 1,300. You know, goes down a little bit more. Sheko is Bittner finding kills, but not able to stall this one out. And I think this is maybe smart on the side of Fnatic. Now they can capture with haste twice as fast. And maybe this will help them get their ball rolling.
Still a lot of credits for them to spend. And Sheko, at least, is going to continue to go to Haven.
Wow.
Bugsy and Bittner will join him there. 14% direct damage reduction, and that's everyone on Not Sincere. Bulldozer 2 coming through for Mr. Phoenix, who sits happily at 6-2. The best slash line in this game. Unbelievable at the 4-1. Everything looking good for Not Sincere, but a whole big slew of very dangerous ultimates coming out for Fnatic. And I have to say, they, to me, have the stronger loadout of ultimates here.
Ancient Rage, sometimes very hard to work around, especially with a player as talented as Unbelievable. But Fsheko has chain reaction, and that's why I love it. Unbi can't even get it off before he gets deleted. Sit back to Spectator, and Mutu, however, off of the pressure, man. He finds a double with Phoenix. Oh boy, this is trouble for Fnatic.
That is a wild Phoenix. Again with the triple kill, but Mutu in the back. He gets a lot of value in that fight. A lot of slows coming out. He's looking like almost out here like Catalyst Pip.
Can I just say this? What an Ancient Rage. Amazing. What an impact on the fight.
Dude, he just evaporated. That was like almost 100-0.
In a funny way, it actually did end up, you know, creating so much distraction that it worked out. But it was just so not what he planned on there. Phoenix knows he's dead. Actually, I think maybe he goes into the emote right at that moment as there's so much damage. It's Bittner as well, finds it. You know what, this full take from Fnatic, they don't care. 84% isn't 100, and they just may be able to, with the comeback mechanic, take this one.
They're slowing it down, but very staggered picks. That's sort of the cost of, you know, we are going to sit on this point. We are going to slow this down as much as possible. It's just a tough situation. Fnatic come in swinging, drop 4 ultimates at a moment's notice, and just like that, they just bring it back.
You have to wonder, you would assume the death and taxes with the way that they're avoiding the cauterize. And if Fnatic tie things back up in terms of objectives captured, they get themselves 300 credits to even up the net worth a little bit, and things are looking a lot better for them.
Gotta even it up though. Frog Isle's been very snowbally on the day. We've had one slower map played here, 2 minutes to figure it out. And that's how it went for Not Sincere. It was sort of just all equal, and then all of a sudden it was a full wipe from Not Sincere, and they push it on through.
Woo, a chain reaction, man. That is just Fsheko bringing that back in a big way. Royal Subject's been the talk of the town for Bomb King for a long time, and he is just showing the power of what has been and what always will be of, you know, the bonus damage on those bombs.
And you gotta say, in a vacuum, that's gotta be his strongest DPS increase. There's the hook on Fsheko, but somehow he's just skating out of here, man. Gera is not letting him die.
Lucky that he even lasted that long. Gera playing so well. 9 streak for him, and you know, that's always a good sign, but Creative shuts it down. He's been a little quiet today, to be honest. A lot of this has been on the back of Phoenix, but it looks like Phoenix finishing with 2, still going to steal the show yet again, even when Creatives gets going.
You got to say that can be a very tough backline to pressure from Fnatic. They've gone for no flanks. They're all sort of turtle isn't really the right word, but they're all going to be kind of like holding the hands, a couple of princesses and their Bomb King in the back line, and you see the amount of burst damage Fasheko's bringing on his own. You throw Cassie into that mix. He doesn't have a lot of health to work with, and I think maybe that's why he's gone into Infamy 5.
And I just wonder if Unbelievable on this Makoa is applying that kind of pressure that is warding them off. Makoa oftentimes, very much like Terminus with his ultimate, applies a pressure that you just have to play around. He doesn't have to hook you. You just know the threat of the hook is there, and you have to coordinate your actions differently. It's just something that they haven't played against probably for so long. Just wonder what the impact is.
Nice little change of pace here. The wind in the sails of Fnatic.
Wow.
Now triple kill comes roaring back in off of the first frag that Bittner actually found onto Phoenix. A small misstep, a team that doesn't make mistakes often, but when they do, boy, do they get punished for it.
And that was a very clean triple kill from Bugsy. And this is just exactly what you want for your chain reaction Bomb King. Having time to set up some bombs, set up some traps, get some big poke onto some big health tanks, and force the question, do you use your Ancient Rage? But guess what? Chain reactions there probably burst him to about half health. No gets healed right back up thanks to the Astral Mark, and now Fasheko's in a bad spot. Na'Vi defend, but they do give up Makoa's ult for it.
And that's a big one. So comeback mechanics still enabled for Fnatic. I don't know if they're too worried. Phoenix continuing to run away with it, 13-5 on Shaolin. He's had a lot of big moments in this game already, yeah. And I mean, he tweeted it out like, I need to keep up, man. You seem like you're leading the race over here.
I feel like he has to have come from a DPS background. I mean, I feel like it's very rare to see someone so naturally adjust to champions like that. Phoenix does like his champions, though. He's a big fan of Tyra. I wonder if he's also a big fan of Shaolin, and maybe, you know, every time he's out of practice, that's his casual go-to, you know.
I mean, he's got some of the best DPS players on his squad.
I don't think Mutu's telling him a lot of information. I'm not sure Mutu's uttered a word.
Mutu doesn't tell anyone much of anything these days. One's such a talkative guy. No, I'm trolling.
He's one of the quiet ones. That's okay. He speaks with his actions here for sure. Phoenix, hopefully he's a visual learner. Unbelievable, getting taken down quite a bit. Wonderful Dread Serpent from Jera, sets up one kill, and Fasheko actually finds another. It's Bittner cleaning up the third, and so Fnatic looking very good off the start. This double kill actually beneficial because it wipes Notice here, and it delays the inevitable, which is the staggered respawn.
And big investments again for Fnatic, but that's okay. You can afford to do that when you have the comeback mechanic. You win that one big fight, you get your mediocre zone out there on Frog Island, just like that, the payload's yours.
And I love how Fasheko can go back to the point, but he stays up there because they're saying, you're going to spend time chasing me and going around this little angle. If you do, we get the point. If you don't, you can't look back and fight at me on the objective, so I'm going to get free damage. It's a great spot for him to hide. I love the commitment to the zone, not backstepping halfway. And it works for Fnatic as they're now 3-2. Trying to push this through to tie it all up with 2 minutes left.
Fasheko working on a real juicy angle as well. If they can get another pick here, that basically puts the payload within striking distance. Just got to get it around this corner. Fasheko moving to the spot where he died last round. He gets stunned out. Almost comboed down by Phoenix, but he does end up living.
Bugsy's starting to heat up as well. On a 13 streak. Big trade. Bittner helps it, but Mutu finds Fasheko. Can his Bittner on 11 streak keep this up? It just seems like Buck too much, too quickly. And Phoenix and Mutu, again, pretty much a dominating support combination of damage. Jera trying to find one frag. He just can't do it. Phoenix with the sidestep.
I wanted that. It wouldn't have changed anything about this round.
Phoenix with the footwork.
That's probably why I want it the most. So that's something about those little stagger. Oh, you gonna stagger me?
Yeah.
You gonna stagger me, boy?
I only do the staggering. I don't get staggered, pal.
Oh, man. 1 minute left. Not as sincere. Plenty of ultimates here. Arguably their most important one is down, but the Ancient Rage, I don't think Unbelievable is super interested in using that this round if he can help it.
Just a lot of showcase Mutu from the Ensnare Buck. And
was that a 91 bonus damage
shot?
Yeah,
it was.
Woo!
But, you know, the thing is that hits for over 900, basically, when you're at that max Buck range. It's incredible how much damage it does. And, you know, with the net shot, you're really just bursting. That's why in that matchup against the Eevee we saw last time,
Can I see Unbee's loadout? Is he running that, like, move speed on elimination card? He just, like, took off
Yes.
He is Rampage
Yes.
5. Let's
Oh my
get it.
God.
Thick boy coming at you.
He's sponsored
Dude,
by the
Makoa's
movie.
card art is so. Look at that little crab. That's awesome.
Breaking through, what is that?
Why
like a,
is that
like a doggy door?
The
Like what?
Rampage card art.
What is he breaking through? That's
crab's
what
a
I'm trying to
legend.
figure out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna get a little closer to the TV.
Doesn't feel like anything significant. If
Dude,
it's
it's like a house.
the crab that
It
breaks
looks like
down
a
the house.
house.
Guys, I love that we live in a fantasy world, but that's just getting too crazy.
That's pretty
Crabs
wild.
don't break down houses. We have to all know that.
Makoa comes from a wild time, man. He has seen some stuff
He's just like, yeah.
in his time.
Back
here
in
the
my
realm.
day,
Crabs the size of houses. Taking out the houses.
taking out the houses. Glad I lived in the sea. We didn't have houses.
Whew, but here comes the overtime now. Fnatic trying their best to equalize, but neither team looking like they're real excited about committing to this fight.
This is a big fight here. Bugsy finds a huge kill. I don't think commitment, you're right, is going to be on the table here for these two teams, is considering that another round is inevitable no matter what. Bittner and Thiel, though, find the kills, and yet again, it turns out Thiel is alive thanks to Jera's heals, and they push it in to tie it all up.
Big deal. Finds 2 killing blows down the stretch. Bittner gets 2 of his own, and my goodness. Very unceremoniously, Fnatic will equalize there. But you're right. Either way, that's why we don't see a single ultimate used. Nobody's really too worried about that. They know that this is the true fight to come.
Yeah, they weren't not quite ready to commit. You know, it's a lot on the line, and it all ends here.
It's a common problem for 20-something-year-old men.
Exactly. And, you know, commitment sometimes not on the table, not on the menu. But that's okay. Because usually, you know, there's food, there's dessert.
You got your whole life to commit to a payload fight.
You really do. Anytime, any game you play. Phoenix knows this. It's a little withdraw speed, misses that shot. Could be big. Time and space available for Spunky. He's going to go for it. Can he land one? It's Bittner falls. He's been the main fragger for Fnatic with the best KDA today. And now it's opened things up for creators. The Bill almost sends him off. Bugsy himself falls. This is on purpose. He knows that he's got to get back. And Theo, however, being staggered as long as possible. 36%. 42 now. Not as Vincier win that fight clean, and they win the objective from the beginning.
And they're already at 50%, man.
This is tough.
The reset call's coming out. Theo's got another 5 seconds left before he comes up. That's 15 guaranteed percent. Pacheco
They can't.
trying to do something about this, Makoa, but Frog
over.
Isle is slipping away.
They know. They know it's over. That's Navi. That's the clean play of Navi. The Void Grip as well. And it all starts with Spunky. Hits the through time and space. Sends its Bittner back to base. And, you know, that's the beauty of a player who's confident in that ultimate, because you can hit it when you're dealing with 2 people in front of you and someone does it from the side. It's like, I was just, what can I say, guys? What
You
can I
kind
say?
of just lose the game sometimes when that happens. It's so difficult it's almost heartbreaking to deal with, because that was just not a factor at all through that game. And then Spunky's just like, I'm going to hold this W.
Did really, really what Super's saying there with that Kamehameha. Let's see what the desk had to say about it as we wrap up Game 1. Headed to Game 2 of this already very exciting set.
A true Super Saiyan indeed. Spunky showing out for the team. But, I mean, a 4-3. I don't think we could have asked for any better to start off the series.
Yeah, I mean, being able to just kind of come into this one, keeping it close. It was a little bit different. I mean, like we had said, during PWC, this was a clean sweep for Navi. Now Fnatic not only stepping up, but keeping it close to the point where it was multi-kills galore for both of these teams. And at the tail end of it, it just happened to be a really good stagger from Navi. Once they were on even playing grounds again, no comeback mechanic for Fnatic, they took over.
And if you look at that final push before we went to the final point, then there's a team wipe that went in favor of Fnatic that allowed them to even it up 3-3. But across the board, some tremendous performance from multiple players. And the casters mentioned it, that Phoenix, he's moved more onto these damage champions, and it's not just the random Tyra.
It's like we've seen that transition. It was Clique-U, it's now Elven Path. I guess Phoenix wants to join the list of, hey, you were really, really good on the front line, but also let me show you what I can do when you give me some damage champion. I can make a name for myself on more than just being kind of the face, I guess, of Navi, as well as just being able to pick up triple kills, being the setup for his team, the cleanup, and honestly just letting everyone else kind of follow in his footsteps.
Pulled ahead on the damage charts, and I mean, that's just one way to go ahead and make a statement for yourself and the rest of the team. But moving on into game number 2, one hard thing whenever it's a 4-3, as great as it is to watch from the perspective of the team that loses, it always is a sucky feeling because you're thinking, we actually were close, but it doesn't matter in the end. A victory is a victory for one team.
I mean, it's one of those things when you're coming into this, especially as Fnatic, and you do lose something like that at a 4-3, you kind of can shrug it off, I want to say, just a little bit, only because you didn't really expect to win this set, at least in terms of history, or at least I would be assuming that that would be the way they would feel about it. Of course, you want to win, you have that drive to get further, but it's not the biggest upset to be like, okay, well, we only lost that one by one point. We can come back. Like, we can do that. We can go to Stone Keep. We can go to map number 3. We are fully in this set still, even though that one didn't go our way.
Yeah, you got to take the positive approach. Not saying as, oh man, we're so close to winning and we didn't. Take it as we actually put up a really good fight, and now we just need to make sure we have some security in those last moments. But it's also a matter of finding that strength even when you don't have the comeback mechanic available. But that's what being able to complete the push has shown too.
And just being able to follow that up, and like the amount of kills, the way they were wiping. Fnatic have the fight in them. It was just that last point when it came down to it. You could see actually maybe a little bit of respect in the Shaolin there. The setup, Spunky starting it off, being able to just get the first kill and then just stagger. Kill after kill after kill. Navi never gave Fnatic the point to fight in that last point. It was just, we have it, this is ours, you cannot touch this point, this is our map. But now, you know that you're touchable. If you're Navi, maybe you're a little bit more scared about how you take this, because you can't just 4-0 Fnatic the way that you might have been, I want to say, getting used to at this point in the PBL.
Well, the Shaolin was a little too scary to let back through, so Fnatic banning that away alongside these other 3 frontliners. And then Cassie, understandably, locked in first.
Nothing crazy just yet. This is where I'm wondering. So Inara getting kind of scooped away from Thiel. I'm wondering if they want to grab the Maldamba with that because the combo that it has, and of course Spunky loves it almost as much as Jera, if not more. But maybe they want to lean. Kinessa's still available. Sniper's very big here, so they're actually going to opt into that one. And I like the call because you can run any healer. Spunky and Jera, I mean, when it comes down to it, are very comfortable with either one. And you take away one of the comfort between the Thiel-Jera combo right now. You get rid of the Inara. Even if you grab Maldamba, you have to wonder if it's going to be worthwhile for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, one thing looking at the bans and the fact that Kinessa didn't make it onto there, the likelihood of Kinessa becoming part of the composition for one of these teams is pretty high. Navi getting a chance to take that means Bugsy's not going to have that available. And Fnatic, I think they probably anticipated that this was a possibility. You let it through, and on Stone Keep, Kinessa can be very powerful. So instead, they're going with a little bit of an altered strategy.
And I really like the idea. I mean, we've seen what Cassie can do with a Luminary Genos. We've seen what Xin can do with a Luminary Genos. So why not have both of them? A lot of damage goes down if you want to try to take out Kinessa without having to go into the Strix because he's just not going to work quite as well as she does on this map. That's your best bet for trying to get rid of her very fast. Of course, it does leave them open. Maldamba and Nara, very good combo for the point, but it's not the end of the world for you. And with Bomb King, Navi definitely feeling comfortable, but Fnatic being able to kind of keep up in terms of the draft.
Yeah, so those are 2 very strong damage sources on the side of Navi, and Bittner with the buck. That's going to be another possibility, which we saw show out pretty tremendously in times past.
At this point, you need a front line. There's only a few left available, but Fernando kind of fallen from grace. I feel like he was kind of sitting up towards the top, very highly valued for a lot of teams. And I feel like you cannot underestimate his fireball, and you cannot underestimate Thiel with a Fernando. So I think this is going to be a very explosive start, at least for Fnatic. It really does depend on how things go. Navi kind of keeping things a little bit more at range.
So once again, it's going to be the single frontliner on both sides, Nando for Thiel, and then Unbi with Inara. But we'll have to see how everything shakes out in game number 2 of our headliner series. So, Casters, what you got to say about it?
You know, to me, in my eyes, I think that now the Leon is starting to say they're really curious and very clear about how Phoenix is helping this team on this new damage role. I think they were prepared to have Bittner play it to take it away. I don't think they knew his Shaolin was of that caliber. And the second they found out, they banned it.
And it's a good pick. It's a good ban across the board. I'm pretty sure everyone except Unbelievable has played Shaolin at a high level for Not a Sincere. So not really scared to ban that one out. It's a good ban for this set. You know, Fernando and these frontliners in general not seeing as highly of a priority because this is 2 guys, 2 comps. They're going to run 3 DPS probably every single game.
The also notable adjustment when you have the option now, instead of taking the Damba, taking Genos, which I think maybe if you look at that draft for Fnatic was where they went wrong. They're leaving that on the table. You saw them building into the Haven, which is 7, 14, 21% damage reduction at tier 3. But after 2 rounds, they had done 14% damage reduction. Genos had been giving them 15% damage amp, so they still weren't even back to square one by giving up that Genos and that move. So it was maybe not the most economical.
Let's look at Bittner's loadout. Let's see if he's gone for Ensnare like Mutu did, or if he stayed with what he knows best, which is, of course,
Bulk up.
bulking up, brother. He's got his little damage reduction and rapid sustain. Even with, I mean, I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel like Buck is getting the healing like he used to.
Also, Bugsy with the Bulldozer. This is kind of a big conversation, you know, and I understand it. You get that Warder's Field down, you know, but you got Genos. You're hitting for 782 damage each shot. Do you need a Bulldozer? Cauterize might be the impact. You know, sometimes you don't have a blast shot available, and that could be the difference with Inara for sure, paired with a Maldamba.
The cripple's rough, man, especially when you've got Zen. It's a hard counter to shutting down Zen. 2 of his abilities just are unusable at that point. And when you actually think about the damage reduction that Earthen Guard actually provides to the deployables, sometimes you need that freaking Bulldozer to make your way through that 2,000 HP deployable.
That's a good point. Bugsy finds a kill, but Mutu, they find a few as well. Fisheko trading out with Mutu after actually taking down Spunky. So this is going to cut off some of the healing from Navi, but they're already in a good spot. Unbi on the point, 48% and counting. Bugsy waiting in the rafters, knows Phoenix is there. He sees the slide. He hears it, actually. But Creatives has now joined him up, and especially with the bombs flying right above his head, I'm sure he knows there is a threat. And he's going to back off.
Did he step a little bit too far out of bounds? It appears so. Bugsy punishes him for it, and
Wow.
now bursts down Mutu midway across the map as well.
And that's the beauty of it. Right here, if he hits the splash shot, he's going to get very close to getting another one because he's going to hit 2 people with it. Going for Phoenix. Beautiful shot, and he has the in-air accuracy being kind of devalued there. So that's another one that's not easy to pull off.
Damn.
Bugsy with a beautiful sequence here on the Cassie.
He freaking owned in that fight. That was all him. And he gets basically every killing blow for it. But Navi at 96%. Can't afford to lose anyone here. Time and Space comes through. Doesn't look like it found anyone. And now Fnatic are closing the gap, but crippled out. Bugsy or Fisheko's not in a great spot.
The best thing, though, is that he's got the objective as a 6th man there. He can't pay attention to Fisheko to clean him up. This opens things up for Bugsy. I mean, this is pretty much, should be a stagger that just doesn't change the fate of this objective. Mutu, though, going for the headhunter, trying to make the crazy play and say, you know what, let's just get Bugsy out of here. Doesn't work. And it goes away at Fnatic this time around.
He couldn't get it done. Let's look at the damage charts. Just curious to see where Bugsy's ending up after that. Mutu definitely almost commented on him. He's looking pretty damn dialed in here, and he's clearly feeling himself, too. Yeah. I mean, that was a big statement play to pop that headhunter like 1v4, essentially, and try and bring that back for the boys.
And I think, you know, seismic crash here from Inara trying to stall things out for Unbi. He does go down thanks to Thiel. But the Bomb King is there. Creative's getting creative with his positioning and making sure that he's always got an eye for his teammates. That's what makes him so good. Sometimes just shows up always in the right place, at the right moment, and making the right decision. It's rare to find a player of that caliber. A couple of good shots from Mutu here.
This kid's dialed in today, man. Did he come to play? Anytime you flash your face, you're taking a shot. Just seen him miss like 1 or 2 in this whole 4-minute game.
And there's the Bulldozer coming into Impact, just saying, you know what, I can shoot this, right? And that's not a problem. Obviously, the disengage, great stuff to get Unbelievable off. No CC immunity from Earthen Guard, going for that treacherous ground. Bugsy can make a play here. He does want to just get a little bit more poke. I don't think he feels comfortable with the sniper holding down the corridor just yet.
But they're tagging him. They're moving back in and out of these spawn doors, so not as sincere as not taking a whole lot of meaningful damage. However, Fnatic are. They don't really have anyone to rely on except for Gera when it comes to sustain, and Thiel finds himself wanting a little bit more as he goes home. Fisheko will be joining him.
And they're slowly but surely backing off, knowing, okay, they're gaining ground. They're taking what we're giving up, and that's the sign of a good team. They're not just staying back where they were, allowing Fnatic to just heal up and then go back to getting those exact extended positions where they're pushing their payload. They're saying, you're giving up ground, we're going to take it. Now we're going to hold from here. We're going to cover these lines of sight as the payload moves to about 75% of the way now.
Show up, you're taking damage. Headhunter's ready to go. They're making their moves. Fnatic want to find a win now. They just force everyone back into spawn. Haven't gotten a kill yet.
It's a good counter from Zen as well. He knows that he's going to get shot at and ends up destroying any plans Mutu had of finishing him off early. Bugsy trying to find that kill. The sniper's really been the bane of his existence. He can't break this corridor without it. Maybe it's Bittner will know that and help to assist with it. Seems like maybe Fnatic are giving this one up.
6, 5.
Pops the Immortal there as well.
3, 2,
Oh?
1.
Didn't feel like the
Wow.
impact of that was really there, but overtime going to start to expire. Theo's just now re-arriving to the payload. Bittner's already fallen. I liked the move for sure. It was very committal for Fnatic. They're like, all right, we're going. And that's kind of the way you have to do it when you're running into Kinessa and Leon in the backline on Stonekeep. You have to just say, this is when we're going. Perfect round, though, from Bugsy.
And you just wonder if he needs to. Maybe you jump off right at the end there. You know, why carry that 13 streak in? You're not committing. You're not going for it. But this is a beautiful play right here. Gets this one, turns around. You have inaccuracy bloom as you fall. And so the fact that he hit this shot on Phoenix, a little bit of luck, a little bit of Bugsy. Kind of aims down at the staircase.
Nice, yeah. It's RNG bloom, too, so it's just your best guess. And he's close enough. Gets it done. Mutu still leading the damage charts, though. Not exactly surprising. He's been pretty dialed in.
3.
I kind of want to watch him. He's always been going for those headshots early on. He clipped somebody. I think it was Fasheko. Not
From
really
here.
important, but knows exactly when they'll be coming around. Didn't get his headshot, but did slow Zen down.
Almost time the jumps well. Through time and space going in. They jump up. Don't get clipped by the toes. That happened last game as well. Spittner finds Creatives on the way down, though. Spunky finds Bit. And Fasheko able to unleash onto Inara, which is going to be tough. That's the solo front line. Jera seems to be capitalizing off it. Mutu, though, gets in, gets wild, and he gets gone.
You know, he's not necessarily some guy that I really know for aggression, but when we've seen it, he's just been ruthless today.
Yeah.
Really not afraid to get in there and move around a little bit, mix things up. Comes from the flank role, been playing a decent amount of backliners. A lot of sniper, but that's just been popular across the board, and he's been the man to fill those shoes for Navi.
And you see, look at this target prioritization. 2 shots, and now that treacherous ground no longer a threat. Hits the blast shot as well. Not getting as much of a reset as I would have thought if he's typically running the card that would reset that blast shot. But so far, it's Bittner cleaning up his leftovers.
Hutu is getting out here, man. Look at him go. He's found 2. He's just really taking it upon himself to try and bring these fights back, but he just can't do it alone.
Yeah. It just feels like he's scrambling. Like he's, you know, that's what I saw the first point as well, was the headhunter right at the very end. Pops that, and it's like, you know, you're 1v3, buddy. I don't know if you know that, but he's going for it. And that's kind of a different style of Mutu, more the silent assassin usually. And he is running level 3, so usually we see that at level 5 in these impulse builds. But going for the drain life level 5 instead as his priority.
500 health over 2 seconds. Won't save him there. Could have afforded for that to have been burst healing. Phoenix gets 2 creatives, finds one of his own. And now Sincere just like that. They're going to hold pretty strongly here. And how much ground do they give up? Because they're kind of at an awkward spot where you don't really want to fight in between like the point fight and your own base. It's like a miniature ice mines. There's not a lot of good spots to take and a lot of good spots to hold in between.
And champions like Buck can take advantage of that, right? Because they can get in a little over aggressive in a place where this is not a hold, this is a we're fighting zone, and then get right back out with some extended jumps to that holding zone. So safety a little bit easier to go in and go out of for the mobile champions. Leon maybe struggling with that a bit. Creatives can buy that space and time, but he's got to use the Poppy Bomb. I think right now, Unbelievable getting low, and this has just been kind of the aim of the day. Fasheko's been pretty good on the Zen.
Trying to burn down the Inara, just can't quite cut the mustard. And Thiel's actually up flanking, looking for a pick, looking to flush out the high ground onto Creatives. He does succeed, doesn't get the kill, but does win high ground for his team, and this Not a Sincere frontliner has fallen.
If you're watching, guys, remember we do have a part 2 coming up for this, so if you are interested in continuing to watch, which I'm sure you would, why not? The set's still got plenty to go. We need to find a winner here and a leader in Europe in the PPL. Make sure to switch over to part 2 of this broadcast. If you're used to what we do every week, you know that we do that. It's getting about time within 10 minutes for us to cancel this one and then move on to the next. So make sure to do that if you're watching on Facebook. 23 seconds left still. 90% payload push. This could turn a 3-1 for Fnatic.
Big shots here for Bugsy. Needs to put the pressure on. Could have found the frag onto
Got
Phoenix.
it.
We'll find creatives.
Oh my, Mutu!
Getting pushed by Mutu, the ruthless one.
My. Wow, and he gets a couple of good shots there. Actually, that big headshot helps to put Thiel's TTK so low that Spunky with the gourd, I think, can clean him up. Mutu still here. Fisheko buying time, but you got to say, his play, his decision to be aggressive made the impact.
Who else can you really point to for Not Sincere in this game? He has been really just battling for Bugsy with Bugsy. He's going to take that cute little slow-mo 1v1 there for the damage charts. For the most impact in this game, they have been really going at it. 10-4 for Mutu. Bugsy 12-4.
Bugsy was 12-2 until Mutu just killed him 2 times in a row in the last 30 seconds. So it just shows you Mutu's really been the bane of his existence. 50% in response for his total death count.
What a performance from him. A guy that's, you know, was definitely a little hot and cold for me in Season 1, but has really stepped up a decent amount in Season 2. Not Sincere. They just hit that switch, man. It's hard to identify exactly when it happened. When did they just become the best team in the world? So long in that third place spot, but now look at them fighting for #1.
It's like anything, right? You know, when you become the best player in basketball or soccer or become the biggest streamer in the world, it almost feels like, when did this big thing adjust? I've almost never seen an Narwhal so easily taken down. That bulldozer really making an impact with the Luminary Cassie as well through time and space from Jera. Gets 2, and Bugsy finds a 3rd. Mutu, of course, cleans up 1 because he's Mutu and he can't not, but Jera with the all-star play really turning the team fight.
That ultimate just winning fights left and right. For Game 1, it was for Not Sincere. Now it's Fnatic's turn. They won't take the whole game off of this, but they're off to a great start. They've had a really great run here on Stonekeep, capturing both payloads and never being on the defense.
And Spittner's natural tankiness with bulk up means he can zone like that and then get out to safety. There's 5 threats still to deal with. Good stuff from Fisheko. What a play! Fisheko finds the long-range Luminary, Yomi, Zen play, and even Billows before the headshot can happen, getting the headhunter as well from Kinessa.
Here comes Enlightenment, but Thiel jukes it out to the left, goes the charge. 96 goes the point, and Fnatic will take it 3-2. They've got a chance now to even up this set 1-1 if they can just drive this cart home.
Counters have been on point as well from Fisheko. You have to just know that he's almost predicting, and that's what you have to do with Kinessa. You have to predict when she's going to want to shoot you, and that's because you know, hey, I'm going out to be exposed right now, and Mutu's on his game. Now Mutu, it's his choice to say, I know you're now going to counter the second you appear, so I have to wait. That's an interesting use of Spite.
It certainly is, and you know, he definitely a little panic there. He's crippled out, can't use any of his movement abilities, realizes that, and his only way out is to Spite.
I mean, I know it's a bad ult,
but do you need to survive there? You know what I mean? Like, that was it. If I die here, my team's going to hate me. I mean, look at where the payload is. There's really no reason Fnatic can't just bounce back. Look, he's already, you know, back anyway. I don't know. Definitely attended Lazy seminar.
It's definitely exactly. A little bit of, Lazy's got a lot of recruits. He's putting together quite the troop there. Listen to him speak.
Manages to make it out, too. Gets his heals. Bugsy's leading the charge, spearheading what he started. And now tagging back in. That's really kind of a tag team thing going on here for Fnatic. They work so well as a team. Someone's going to start it. Someone's got to finish it. But it is a team effort at the end of the day. Are they going to finish it right now?
It might be. I mean, look at this here. Mutu getting aggressive, but Bugsy says, I've seen that play. I've actually read that book before. It was okay, but I like the Fnatic win game #2 storyline better. So he takes matters into his own hands, finds the second one here, and Fnatic now tie things up with NAVI in a set that we knew was going to be tight.
A firm W. Already looking much better, and you got to say, this is sort of the rematch from the PWC Finals, but a lot's changed since then, and we kind of have dubbed this Fnatic's meta, though. I think Phoenix is doing quite well.
He really
keeping
is.
Up in the DPS.
It's impressive. He's positive KDAs. He's really confident in his play style. You can see maybe that's even translating onto Mutu, who's more of he's the guy who's just sitting back. He's waiting patiently. Now he's going into people as a sniper, challenging Bugsy with full health and coming out alive. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out in Game 3. But for now, send it back to the desk to break down Game 2.
We've got ourselves a set, baby. 1-1.
That was impressive. I mean, coming down, like, there was just so much Fnatic did well. that Navi just couldn't actually handle, which is a rare instance to see Navi in a position where they just can't fight back that well.
I mean, right off the bat, Fnatic was just committing strong, and even though it was a bit back and forth, both teams showed some strength, but the fact that Fnatic was able to start off, get that initial point, I think that allowed them to just feed off of that energy.
And honestly, just the way, of course, you saw Cassie going, and the fact that when it came down to it, like, Mutu was impactful, but you didn't quite see, I think, the same impact that you've seen Kinessa on Stonekeep as much. Cassie, on the other hand, was just blowing people up left and right, solid shots, and actually one of the things I'm going to give shout-outs to Vox, the Drain Life being level 5 actually made it a little bit easier on the Genos, so he didn't have to worry about the healing as much, so he could kind of focus on everybody as Cassie kept herself alive. And honestly, everything that Bugsy was doing pretty solid and pretty well. I would say he definitely knew what he was running into.
Oh yeah, tremendous play and very contribution-based, very contributed a lot. I guess that's the way to put it. Contributed a lot to that victory. Words, they're difficult sometimes. But he and the rest of the team pulling things together, and you had Bittner that was on his comfort pick as well. So now going over to our next map, which is going to be Bright Marsh. It's going to be another tight one, I'm sure.
I'm interested to see how the draft goes this time, because I think now both times we've seen a Bomb King that could be impressive and then not win. And I believe actually in the last one, a Bomb King that was impressive, but again, didn't win. But this is a map where Bomb King can be a little bit more exemplary, so maybe this is the chance where if he does come through, whichever team gets him, they both have someone who can play him well. Maybe they'll step up right here. Well, not even allowed to. He's going to be banned.
Still banned away. And this is a map where snipers aren't really a factor. Navi had gotten the Kinessa last time for Mutu, but still there were just moments where hanging back, waiting for something to happen, and it didn't quite connect to a victory. And here, Bomb King, Makoa, and Nara, all of those taken away.
What I like is I feel like we're seeing a glimpse into the way Navi is viewing the set, as well as maybe a little bit to Fnatic. They're kind of forced as the second pick. They have to get rid of Makoa. They don't want to let that one through. They have to get rid of the Torvald because they don't want to let that one through. Whereas Navi are like, well, Nara's really strong on this map, and Thiel has been really happy to pick her up whenever we let her through. Let's take her away. And Bomb King can be ridiculous. We saw what has happened 2 games ago on Frog Isle here, so let's just take that away. But instead of going for the Cassie, they go for the Ruckus.
And he's up. He's available, which isn't always the case. And both of these teams, as they've demonstrated, are very comfortable with bringing a single frontline composition to the table. You've seen that Phoenix has had no problem stepping away from the main frontline role that he had had in times past. But this allows Cassie to be picked up first for Fnatic, and we saw great play from Bugsy prior.
This is one of those rare instances where I'm wondering if Ruckus was actually... It's one of those things that you don't really want to give him away, but you kind of don't want to give away Cassie either. You're really locked into this poor position where there's too many things you wanted to ban, too many things you want on your side that you're just not able to get. I love the idea, though. Cassie, Zen, you need to get rid of something. You get rid of the Genos. Don't let them have the Luminary on top of it. Because Fnatic, I mean, at this point, if they just were able to run back a composition similar or very close to what they just had, could find relatively easy success here.
So now we're actually seeing the double frontline making an appearance. Nando and Ruckus have been locked in, so maybe Phoenix will be going back onto something like the Ruckus.
Well, it is one of those things, because Ruckus does more damage, it's like he's a frontline, you know, when it comes into it. He can hit hard, and he can do a lot. He's kind of, I think we used to just call him the flank tank, or at least I used to call him the flank tank, where a lot of what he does is going to be similar to what you're seeing maybe out of the Zen here, maybe out of Cassie to an extent, where he's just going to kind of make sure to eat down Barrack, the Shields, Maldamba, anyone who happens to stand in his way. So I'm wondering if Phoenix actually might still want to flex onto some sort of carry, or if he is going to try and lead the way.
Gonna see the pip as well, and Barrack getting locked in. That's a nice way to be able to encapsulate the entire point with your dome shield, or there's kind of nice pickpocket areas to set up your turrets, try and catch off anybody that does try to just basically spook you from the back. But Shaolin's going to be the last pick for Navi.
If Phoenix can go back to this one, I see no big reason not to. Honestly, they have a lot. Doing the double front line, a lot of high health bars, then having 2 supports to be able to kind of keep people healed up is very strong. But an Eevee to close it out, she's been void today a lot of the times. But Fnatic, I mean, I believe as Nick put it earlier, has one of the best Eevees in the world, and this is going to be devastating.
I mean, the last game of the last set saw some great Eevee play from Pacheco. Maybe we'll get to see some more, but multiple people that can navigate that one. So, casters, let's go ahead and head into Game 3.
You know, this is still looking like a dangerous roster for both these teams. You see that Pip, you see that Ruckus, you start thinking Umbi, you start thinking Phoenix, you see the Shaolin as well, you start thinking Mutu, you say, oh, yo, this is looking bad. And then on the other side of things, you see the Zen come out, and you're like, ooh, that's
much better
tough.
over there.
Whoa, Eevee, man, that's looking dangerous here. And you're like, well, what do we go for? I don't know. These two teams getting what they want, it's kind of hard to make sure that they don't, really.
Yeah, I think they're playing two very distinct styles, so there's nothing really to take away from each other so much. The Genos would have been the only thing I think that makes this Fnatic roster a little bit better,
Definitely.
just a wee bit better. But they can still definitely operate with what they've got. I'm curious to see how Theo plays this solo Barrack into just this really frantic lineup that I think is going to be coming out. It's not on him to win a lot of these fights, but I do want to watch him and just see how he plays it, because this is really what is going to make or break a lot of frontline players. How do you play these scenarios where you're really not the center of attention?
I think you have to just slow roll it, honestly. You either have to commit, and Barrack is a hard one to slow roll because you got to get set up. So it's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, master writing from Thiel here. But he's going to go for the wrecker. I think if you're running Tinkerin, that works. I think if you're running Hair Trigger, that works too. I very firmly believe Hair Trigger is the damage legendary for Barrack right now.
And I mean, especially in this scenario, he's got to just sort of be spamming these shields down. There's not much more.
Yeah.
I think he can do safely, but we'll watch. We'll look. We'll see.
This is wild, dude. We haven't seen a Barrack deck like that in years. Brave Bull, Healing Station 3, not 5, Bowling Ball 3. Palisade, great card I've been loving, and I like these running in it too, but Red Streak 2, I mean, no Forged Ally, no Combat Repair. This is a new man, and he's running Tinkerin.
Sure is. Going to be chunking his way across the field now, 21%. Curious, he doesn't quite want a full commit just yet. Has his shield available. Phoenix does as well. Though the first blood goes to Fnatic, nothing really changes. They did not make any moves towards the point.
And what he's doing, instead of fully committing in the circle, he's waiting, fighting, trying to find picks, helping to burn down shields, and then holding behind this where he has cover. Because he doesn't have that take advantage, they've got 2-1. He's slow rolling it. And Pacheco, anything but slow here, tries to find the shot midair, but beautiful, beautiful play. Spunky gets hit, and that's just, you can't do anything about it.
Oh, yeah, those mid-range shots, those are the worst ones from Eevee, because that's not when you're expecting. You're watching her waiting for her blink, and that's when you're expecting the shot. And then she opens with one from mid-range. It's just like, what can I do? But to be honest, a lot of people made it just barely out, so I think it was about time Lady Luck gave something back to Pacheco.
Mutu doing a great job on the Shaolin. And you see, even the Pip on creatives, finding value, but not finding enough. Now Barrack, as you can see, Thiel starting to move in. They've pushed away, and so you see that what Fnatic are doing, they're just crawling their way in. The Ice Storm locking down the Fernando. The shield has to go up from Umbi. That cooldown is used. I don't know if Pacheco's going to make it out. It seems like he's gone. Phoenix with a double, and Thiel here having to make something happen, but boy, does he get melted with the headshots.
The walking head.
He's still alive, though.
Doesn't miss one. Garrett bails him out, keeps him alive, and now it's Creatives. That's got to watch his back. He gets a massive heal off, but Gara holds it together.
Now Spunky and Phoenix, they have to retreat. They thought they were going to keep creatives, and he goes aggressive, but he doesn't get what he came for. Theo backs the planet on the point, and Pacheco with a Void Grip. Ice blocked immediately to get away, and Spunky's worried about those mid-range shots, but he needs to be worried about Theo and Bugsy, who are finding frag on frag on frag as Bugsy cleans up Mutu and turn it Fnatic's way again.
Overtime starting to expire, and this could be it. Spunky gets in there just to touch, but he loses his own life for it, and it's just living on a hope and a prayer for Not a Sincere. They can't bring it home. Fnatic take the first payload of the game, and you got to thank Gara for it.
And it's the only time you really want to be living on a hope and a prayer is at a Bon Jovi concert. Not here, because this is something that you could see is tactically executed by Fnatic from the ground up in this solo Barrack. It's a beautiful showcase of not making mistakes, and one of the rare rounds we see NAVI make more mistakes than their team that they're playing.
Small little missteps, but Fnatic have been primed to, and that was something we noticed in their set with Virtus Pro. Like anytime Virtus Pro would get a kill, there was always someone there. And Theo finds a big triple kill, big boy Barrack.
Oh, he tried to get the quad. He saw me.
Scumbags, dude. Let him have it.
I don't understand those. Let him have it.
Come on, Fish.
But what you were saying, you were saying something about.
Yeah, I mean, no,
earlier.
Fnatic, every single time that it's not even, you can't even really call it missteps, just an opportunity to take damage, just a lethal opportunity for Fnatic. Anytime someone from Fnatic or not a sincere is exposed,
no, that's a mistake.
They get smacked.
Yeah, that's a mistake. There's just, and it's a great idea. It's just the execution is where the mistake comes through because Ruckus is too close to him. That the shield is not outside of that. If it was, I think he would have been able to kill him and trade out. 20,000 shielding is nothing to laugh at there, even in a Hexafire. But, you know, Creatives overextends, and that's really what turns the tide, Jared, with a beautiful Dread Serpent to save Bugsy. And, you know, it's rare, but they've got to rein him in. The Pip, not the, you know, I think what we know Creatives for.
Yeah, he's definitely been solid on it. And in a set like this, it is very small mistakes that are going to define the winner and the loser, and who capitalizes on those. Theo negates a big amount of damage there with a nice little bowling ball play. Bugsy's in the back line, swinging away. Ooh, but can't find anything.
Really good healing as well, Creatives playing that role, and that's where he's needed in this lineup, because if that doesn't happen, then, you know, Bugsy's off to the races. And snowballing is really who can find the pick. I gotta say, Fnatic, Nick, have a lot of win conditions in my eyes that have been performing.
Boy, they sure do.
Yeah.
They sure do, and that's why, you know, it's clashing of two very distinct styles between Fnatic and Natus Vincere, and I'm always curious, you know, it's not the be-all, end-all thing, but the front lines, those shields not going to be doing what they're doing now later into the game, and Fnatic coming out and taking the first payload is a big boon to their chances.
It's a good rocket barrage, though. A couple of missiles, and Isbitner is surely dead to rights if he tries to stay around here. Phoenix is going to clean him up like that. Double kill for him. Could easily find the triple here. Mutu will steal that one in the air, though, and a little bit of a spray. Again, Phoenix on the Ruckus. That's scary.
It's old school, man. He's got his Genos as well. And sitting at 1,000 DPS, I mean, percentage base, the higher you start, the higher you're going to finish. 7-2 for Mr. Phoenix. But all around the charts, Fnatic, 1, 2, and 3. Bittner, Fisheko, and Big Boy Theo.
Double kill.
American made.
Triple kill.
Nerf Blaster.
Nerf Blaster. Merrick just always has a way with stealing the show somehow. It might be that luscious beard.
Might just be.
Might be that fierce gaze.
Pretty tight race and damage overall. I mean, 2 through, like, I think 6th or 7th place, separated by about 10,000 damage. So it's really just this Cassie that's, but that's, I mean, that's not anything new. Cassie's been out in front for the majority of the day.
And with the love of Obi69 returning, Theo, I noticed the unicorn mount as he was riding into battle. Good choice. Don't often see that one. Through time and space, this time it misses. Spunky doesn't find the same impact he's used to with that. Fisheko still shooting, doesn't exactly know where Mutu is, expects him to be on the other side, and so he's wary and takes this angle. Good blink back into safety if he needs it. They find a kill. It's Bittner slaying Spunky, and that's the healer down.
Gotta look for an Ice Storm here. There it is, coming up over the top, using that and locking out to Fnatic, tightening the noose. But Mutu and Phoenix are holding it together, and they bring at least one of those kills back. Theo, blessed. He's going to get the dome shield down as well.
And it almost, I feel like the turret, it looks like, is it outside the room? No, it's not. It's inside. But
Big
another
deal.
triple kill from Teal.
American made. Brother man blaster.
And he just somehow does it again and again. That dome shield, I mean, we don't see it often now. We see it here and there, but it's just one of the best in the business.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. Theo, man, making it work. He's been doing this solo frontline thing for a long time, and Fnatic just looking so strong and so comfortable operating the way they're doing it. Phoenix trying to have a conversation about it, but he only finds one this time.
Feels like his target prioritization was somewhere we couldn't see on that, and it's definitely
Cassie down the stairs.
Definitely hurt him there because, you know, Theo would have been probably the easiest pickup in that one. They wait. Unbi and Spunky find those 2 kills. Now Fisheko gonna get found because of, course, the stagger, trying to get back to his team as soon as possible. But Bright Marsh is so short, it's not a Frog Isle. They're going to be able to get back, most likely, and at least touch to make an overtime. It just depends on how effective the zone is from Natus Vincere.
Right now, it's looking pretty strong, and it's got to be Bugsy that gets in there. He touched last round. He'll touch this round as well. 53%. Dome Shield's nowhere near ready. Fnatic don't have any ultimates to work with.
As Bittner finds Mutu and Bugsy's still alive, though. Theo does fall, and they've got both frontliners, so this is going to be hard to deal with. And Phoenix just doing so much damage, man. Fisheko, he can't really magic this one out. And it's a Billow. It's going to buy time. Bugsy doing everything he can, but it just feels like Phoenix is too healthy and too much burst. So Na'Vi are going to go back into the lead here with a little bit of a spray.
Even trades, but the right ones for Nautis Sincere. They had healers and front lines left up. Fnatic just had flankers to stand on the objective, and not the right tool for the job, and Orange and Black will have to be on the defense now.
Gotta give respect to Unbelievable, who got the kill onto, I believe, Jera in the back line and forced that engagement. This Fernando creating so much space.
Yeah, where the hell did that even come from? I honestly just saw it in the kill feed. I had no idea where Unbe or Jera even were.
He was just zoning so far ahead, and it's a beautiful, showcase of what it means. Mutu hitting that shot for 1,400.
That's a big one, man.
That's what is that? Eevee has 1,800 health. His one shot does 1,400. at a field study Torvald.
And we're cooking with fire here. Sheko doing his best. Gotta watch his step though at 1,800 HP. You're right. Especially with Illuminary, Genos, and Ruckus. Those two characters shooting at your ice block. You're taking 2,000 DPS. You have to get out of there. Hopefully, you literally have good enough ping to get out of that situation.
And in this type of moment, you're doing well. You got the first objective, so you've already got some credits. It's tied up now. You don't lose credits for really letting them push this. You go to the 3-1. This is the comeback mechanic conversation I like to have, which is I'm not really worried if they grab this and we now can fight with twice the amount of capture rate as they have next round. And especially you're a single front line, it's not easy to match the amount of time the other front lines are on the objective.
And the question of committing has been one to talk about in this set. Both these teams having a very obviously reasonable amount of respect. Spunky reads Bittner like a book, though, and blasts him, and that could be an easy conversion.
And that, to me, is where Na'Vi are probably different-minded here. They're saying, we will take the 3-1 at any cost. Spunky committing a very big point fight ultimate in Through Time and Space, which he's shown can change the objective whenever he lands on that. Committing an Immortal as well. They're going for it. Fnatic aren't. And though, if you're gonna, you use 2, you still have 3 big ones left.
Yeah, and that ultimate is it's a cherry on top. Look at him; he's already back to 41%. He's shredding in the DPS
That's crazy.
At the moment. Absolutely killing it, charging his ultimate up super quickly, as well as having so many Astral Marks up as well, juicing his ultimate. Has he built in a morale boost? I don't really think so. I think Genos is more of a Chronos guy, but he's just putting in the work for this fight. Already at caught 3. 3 caught 3s across the board. Record 3s for Fnatic. Bugsy just a little bit off the mark for his caught 3. He's gone into Nimble instead.
5, 4.
It's typically what you'll see. I think Astral Cycle 3 is a bit of a difference, and Relativity 4 is really where those points are kind of adjusting for this loadout with Spunky. Light Years as well, so he can have this angle, heal through walls, but keep his distance safely. Call out if there is pressure. Fisheko finds Creatives, wants to finish him off, but that Ice Storm doesn't seem like it gets what he wants. But it does force Creative in a bad spot, and Fisheko ends up getting the kill anyways.
How did he turn that one around? Shots here are landing on a Spunky. A little bit of self-knockback, knocked him up in the air. Fnatic, if they can stagger these 2 front lines out, they'll be in a great spot here. They're already 74% on the objective.
And here's where I think you blink. They feel very confident about killing Phoenix, but watch out for the burst, and that's it. Phoenix gets the kill, but Fnatic, thanks to the comeback mechanic, kind of win half a fight and just grab it.
They were on it the whole time as well. Deal, you can see his turrets. The remnants of a fight that never really happened for him. Big Yomi swing there connects onto 2. Bugsy will whirl out, keep himself healthy. Got a lot of movement speed right now. Where is that coming from? Is that Swift Spirits or is that one of Bugsy's cards?
Good question, actually.
It's gotta be Swift Spirits.
He probably is getting some Swift Spirit action from the Maldamba.
He did buy a Nimble 1. I did notice that. Instead of going into Cauterize 3. Because he's worried
5! Oh boy, that's quite a lot.
Yeah,
Jareth.
I mean, I feel like when you go into it, you want to go into it. Because with the way movement speed, and most DR works in the game, is you get your biggest one single boost of anything, whether it's damage reduction or movement speed, unmitigated. 30% is the threshold where you start to see DR, but like, for instance, Mother's Grace and Nara, she gets the full 50% of that because the one biggest single boost to any of those stats won't be diminished.
Yeah, you want that 50 if you can. There are a couple cards that do it. In fact, some cool Willow loadouts I've been seeing and talking about today. It's super exciting to kind of witness some of the new movement speed level 5 cards getting seen, and obviously some getting taken down. And Spittner taking down Creatives and Phoenix here as Fnatic look to zoom ahead. Haven't made much progress on this push, though, but now Unbelievable getting cornered out.
boys, the Wrecker online. That shield basically three-shotted Umbi with not much more to give that fight, so he just sits on the objective as long as possible to prevent it from moving. His teammates starting to respawn. Spunky, he must have jumped off. I don't think anyone killed him, but he's respawning.
Yeah.
Maybe just didn't want to be staggered himself and wanted to position on the high ground for this final fight, which to Genos is only accessible through actually respawning.
Yeah, that's true. And in this fight as well, the big thing that we noticed at the beginning of this point fight, Fnatic finds creatives, and it tells me that they've been really not enjoying the burst that creatives has been providing in this engagement, but they've already found both front lines, so this is amazing for Theo. He doesn't really have anyone who can raw contest him. Fnatic's got to stay alive here. I think he breaks that a little early. Could have waited for the heal to come through a little longer.
You just wormhole back. I don't even think you need to ice block there, really. Unless he was feeling like he could have maybe cleaned up that kill. Last couple of seconds here. Fnatic don't have the dome shield. I don't really think they have much of a shot at pushing this one through.
Man, how much damage is... I mean, it's just so clinical. Phoenix is not really missing anything. And despite the incredible plays from his Bittner, 126,000 damage to his name, 36,000 damage ahead of the next closest, which is Mutu. It's just not enough to be able to beat out what this Ruckus has done to defend the payload.
They're really out here. Great impact. This was a big 1v1. I'm surprised. I don't even think Creatives expected for him to like turn that around. I don't.
Seriously,
did not see that coming.
I mean, this is what Fnatic does, and this is why he's so scary on Eevee. It's like, dude, I mean, I kind of won the first part of that fight. I thought you were retreating. You know, used all your cooldowns. Nope, right back at you, hit you midair, falling down. Then get your other healer. So Fnatic, such a huge contributor to that fight. What will happen this time around as well? Will they send someone with creatives? That's the big question. So far, Bugsy looks very isolated. They poked him out in unbelievable zoning as well, forcing the heat haze here from Mutu.
I love this fight coming out here. I love watching these two teams go at it. There's a big dome shield already used on the objective. Fnatic have used a lot, but they haven't really gotten much for it. Are they running out of steam?
And this time, Creatives finds Theo. Bugsy finds Spunky, so it's a bit of a different trade for the healer. Bugsy's still alive, and Fnatic now able to poke them out. But a 2-streak for Creatives, maybe it's still enough damage to impact this.
That was a lot of value here. Frankly, Creatives missed a lot of shots onto Fnatic there and forced him, allowed him to force out the Immortal there. Bugsy's skated with less than 100 HP, I think, 2 times in this fight.
I mean, you got to watch out. Phoenix is so clean on these rockets, man. I mean, 500 damage, like that, like that, like that. He's playing Rocket Barrage, so that missile launcher's got plenty of ammo to be able to do what it needs to do. And this comeback mechanic has served Fnatic well. I don't know if they have the dome shield. They don't. 30% on that. There is the spike, though, available for Bugsy if he wants to lock someone. There it is. It just uses it to get on the high ground.
Did manage to get a kill. I think Bittner killed his target, or who he had hoped to, but Mutu, big double kill for him. Massive triple kill for Mutu.
And he looks to get the quadra here. One more. Phoenix will clean it up with the beautiful missile launcher, but Mutu comes in, makes a big play for Natus Vincere, and Fnatic now have to find an answer if they want to get back here and keep this game alive.
That might be enough to seal their fate. Theo trying to make his way back in, does not have the dome shield, not even close. He's rocket bootsing around, he's doing his best, but this is not the win condition for Fnatic. These fraggers have got to get here, and they've got to hit hard.
There's plenty of people, though, and they're forcing Unbelievable into an interesting spot, but the double kill from Mutu is stalled by the kill from Bittner, but Jera, though finding Unbelievable may not be enough. They're fighting on the point. Creatives and Phoenix are there. They've got to touch down. Creatives from the top ropes finishes it off, and he ends up getting the kill for Natus Vincere and the win.
Ends the game with a Dread Serpent up, too. I think Jordy was probably trying to dump that off right after that Slither, but there was too much burst damage awaiting him.
And that's the problem with this lineup. It's just, you know, you make one mistake at the beginning, and you see how that plays into Fnatic. And Fnatic, they make one mistake and maybe don't quite have the same impact of a round for Fnatic early on. Bugsy kind of, although got that kill, was very much defensive that entire round, not able to apply the pressure.
Mutu went full T1000
too. Mutu went
fight.
Terminator, exactly. And so that's sometimes what happens if you give them enough time. Navi take game number 3, and now looking at a game number 4, putting them in the driver's seat and winning the set if it can happen.
So currently 2-1 in the favor of Na'Vi, and just nice show last moment from Mutu there with the triple kill.
What I really liked was that ending screen. It was very much just Creatives, last man standing kind of style, walking onto the point. Like everyone else is dead. There's just ragdolled bodies all around, and he's like, well, I mean, I have to stand
all
on
the
the point.
All the corpses of my enemies. Yeah.
Well, some of them were friendly too, so
That's
definitely
true.
one maybe as comfortable as he'd like to be.
Once
but
you die, you're
they
an
won.
enemy. You've betrayed me as a teammate. Therefore,
turned against your house
dead
and
to
we
me.
have banished you.
yeah. But hey, in the end, you have to give it to Navi for working just so well together. But also on the side of Fnatic, I mean, Theo was doing some really great things on the Barrack. At one point had a great ultimate that led to a triple kill and a nice turnaround for them.
He had a few triple kills that came out through that one, which wasn't exactly what we were expecting. We mentioned during the cast as well, he was running a little bit of an unorthodox deck. He was still running Tinkerin, which was a little bit different, but it worked out for him. I mean, he was still able to have that. It didn't work out in the grand scheme of things for the team, but it did at least make a little bit of a difference in the tiny marks, and of course being able to kind of bring Barrack's name out of the dirt back into the light.
Well, that's one thing. You look at the way that Theo was performing, and then also Bittner on the Cassie going into that last round was 126k, and as Rain Day said, 36k ahead from the person in second place. So it just shows even these individualized moments weren't enough as a collective to overthrow the strength that was Navi.
And that's just where Fnatic, they're really, really solid, and it's something that you saw on the first map, something you saw on the second map. But Navi is just as solid, if not maybe more. I mean, they're defending world champions for a reason. They have not messed around getting to this point, and I don't think they're going to let too much get to them. Even if Fnatic win this one, they are very much a team that can keep their composure.
Yep, game number 4. So we're going into Serpent Beach. A lot can happen here. We saw the Ruckus actually made it through the draft during the last time around, and if it manages to do so this time, we'll definitely get picked up, but I could also see a world where on Serpent Beach in particular, it just gets banned out.
I'm also interested to see where Knessa ends up standing, and that's going to be the Ruckus immediately.
Yeah.
As I feel like Navi are like, well, we know what we just did with it, and we don't want you to have it. But Sniper, specifically Knessa on this map, has been a little bit more impactful with the way things are going. Navi don't really need the Sniper. They've been playing very well to kind of be able to counter it if they have it. Shaolin was one of the big factors of that, so taking that away, I wonder what Fnatic really want to prioritize.
Well, and that last game was proof that multiple members on Navi can play really well on the Shaolin, because we saw Phoenix earlier on it, Mutu on it during the last game, and when you have just that one champ that pretty much anyone on your team can pick up, and we know creatives can do a lot on it too, that it's not really worth letting it slip through as potential, but Cassie once again getting picked up first.
Definitely the favorite, I would say, across pretty much every single PPL team as of right now. The only time she's overlooked is when you would see maybe Ruckus, Makoa slip through. Most of the time that doesn't happen, so it's not going to be the biggest threat. And again, taking a slight away from Thiel and keeping it back in your field, take the Inara. But the question is, do they do Inara Cassie, or Inara Knessa, I mean, to be able to kind of grab that up? Because they want that. I believe this is exactly what they did on Stone Keep so far.
Yep.
And just being able to run it back, Fnatic dealt with it then. Maybe they'll deal with it again.
Yeah, on Stone Keep they had Mutu on Knessa, and it was, of course, Umbi on Inara. But maybe a little bit of shake-up how things will go with the rest of their draft. Jenna's getting locked in for Fnatic as well, and they need to make sure that they find a specific way to deal with this Knessa, and picking up a flank like Eevee, throwing Fasheko on that, can maybe be a way to do just that.
And what's been really solid, and this is part of why it works with Zen, but it's going to work just as well with Eevee, is when Genos can pretty much hit you wherever he's standing. Doesn't matter if you're through the wall, around a corner, wherever you are, he can add that luminary damage. So when Eevee does get aggressive, he can actually time it like perfectly, be like, all right, you're going into the fight, here's a heal, here's some damage, have that up front, and then come through. And I like what Navi have decided to do, because Fnatic, I mean, it's not out there to run 2 flanks earlier. They ran 3, and they were successful with it. Take away the Zen to make sure they don't get that combo just to be safe.
Yes, Spunky's getting his Maldamba as well. But Zen will have that mobility to be able to maybe take out some members of Fnatic, or not Knessa, Cassie rather. We've seen just be able to top the damage charts on both the winning teams and losing teams. So you have to find some way to be able to control that. Or if you want, she's going to do some damage either way, so you got to break down some of the rest of the utility. But Buck, very strong for Bittner.
I'm going to guess him going right back to it, and they grab Fernando again. This is looking very similar. I mean, the Nando, Buck, Genos, Cassie just replaces Zen with Eevee. This is pretty much the exact composition they won on Stone Keep with. So definitely feeling very happy with the way they've been able to draft this. Of course, Eevee, depending on the player, I would say is maybe a little bit stronger or weaker than Zen. Of course, you have to give it now to Fnatic to the fact that they're very strong with it. They have tons of players who can make her look good. And of course, being able to fit her with everything else they have on their composition is very deadly.
And Leon, the last one to lock it in. We saw Phoenix on that earlier. But let's go ahead and see how things are going to go in game number 4. This may be the last game if NAVI managed to take it away, but Fnatic, they can try and push this to another one.
2 game 5s. I don't know. That'd be interesting if we saw that back. In the earlier weeks, we've been in
sweep week.
Yeah, sweep territory. So at this point, I would welcome a long set, but it's already been interesting. And I think for Fnatic, when you look at tiebreakers and you look at winning games, they've already done a lot against NAVI and actually taken that game. So if they can take another one here, send it to 5, that helps them even if they lose the set.
Serpent Beach historically been a very good map for Fnatic. At least that core from the old D69 days, back when they really almost made this their thing in Season 1. And Serpent Beach was almost kind of the map that helped them do it because it was such a good map for Buck, such a good map for Bomb King, and such a good map. They had their Torvald as well. That was really the composition that kicked it almost off for them. And now they're back. They've got a lot of high ground control as well, whereas Not Sincere really don't.
Yeah.
And man, that was a big factor in the first set of the day between VP and Mouse Sports.
Mutu here has a lot on his shoulders with this Kinessa. I mean, it's a great map for her. The angles are pretty good. It's pretty telling exactly where and when people are coming at you. So I think the onus is on Fnatic. It's on Fisheko. It's on Itzbitner. But hopefully with Itzbitner running the style of loadout he's been running with Bulk Up, he's going to have extra health to deal with this. And he's also going to just have the ability to survive, take a couple of shots away from the Kinessa, and kind of the option of him being too lethal, but Unbelievable cleans him up just like that. However, it's 3 in response from Fnatic. It's 4 in response.
They just made such a big move there.
Wow.
Full 5 for 1. Not a Sincere. Not the way you expect that to go. They made it. They took a big risk. Unbelievable committed hard. He toaster strudeled himself up and behind, found first blood, but then I think by proxy left his own backline so open, and Fnatic so mobile, so fast, exploit that with ease.
And look at this. It's already clear that Fisheko is challenging Mutu. Bugsy taking down Unbelievable just like that. This is not looking good on the side of Na'Vi. They haven't been able to get their bearings at all in this fight. Maybe taking down the front line will help Phoenix find Steel, and now Fisheko, though, still off to the races. Almost has his ultimate, and hard to fight Spunky in that gourd. 93% though, and counting for Fnatic.
Spunky's like, come get it. Come get
here,
it, son.
boy.
I'll teach you a thing or two about this big Cobra.
I don't know if he has it. I think he doesn't have gourd anymore, and that's it. Fisheko, beautiful timing, just persistence wins the day. And it pays off. Fnatic grab objective number 1 here in their basically do or die game.
High fragging. There's the big 977 when he's got the Luminary attached to him, and he should for the majority of this game. Still in 3-shot range for most champions on this Not a Sincere roster, unless they've taken some type of chip. But Fisheko is his own poke, his own follow-up. The full package.
I love chips.
I know you do.
Kettle? What kind of chips did
Let's go into
he
the chip
take?
business.
Did he take my chips? Let's go into the chip business. Let's drop it all. Let's move to Vegas and go into the chip business. Is that where chips are made? I don't know. We'll figure that out on another episode here. But Fisheko, he definitely has that Ice Storm, and that's where eliminations are made. That's for sure. They all circle around in there. Hard to separate it all. Bugsy with an 8 streak. He's been pretty dominant today with Luminary. Again, Cassie hits for 782. 102 bonus damage off the 680 base, so that's pretty nutty.
Blinked into the cripple there, but actually the ice block cleanses the cripple, and then
that's right.
It's not
persistent.
Doesn't reapply.
Right,
so he's good to just move around, blink around. Cripples are going to be big in this game, going against Not a Sincere as well, shutting down Zin. Kinessa, Leon, super hard, Fishy with a little style.
Ow! That was nice, baby, and you almost don't see it. It happens so fast. Fisheko, what a great Eevee. I mean, this is one of those guys where you look at and you say, this is just another level of flanker.
He's really one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. Lazy's got to definitely do some convincing. Fisheko's running away with that race a little bit right now in this set. Soaring to the back line. One more for Mutu.
Are you kidding me? Fisheko off to the races yet again, and he is miles ahead. I don't see another horse in sight. He's doing laps around the competition. He's going to soar over. And Spunky, you think that Creative, excuse me, you think that counter's going to save you? I don't think so. It's Bittner. following up as well. If you needed a secondary act, he's one heck of an option.
It's two. It's both Phoenix and Mutu for basically full damage.
My God.
977, he's 1v2 and keeping this backline very busy from Sincere, preventing them from gaining any sort of map control. But on the other side of things, Unbelievable is doing a really good job holding it together without any support.
And that's the one slight mistake he might have made. Creatives maybe could have caught him with a spite there and ended Fisheko's reign. You know, you don't need to blink back. You have your sword. Just soar away. Blinks for the extra health, maybe for the hope that Creatives isn't watching. Ends up working out in NAVI defense successfully. It's still, despite how much Fisheko has done, here's the scary part. They don't really get much from it.
For sure, 7-0 from Fishy in that first round. What a round it was. But I mean, I'm not too worried about that because it's like if anyone else pops off in some type of way, Fnatic are going to blow this game out of the water, I think. Fishy's fully dialed in. He's got a lot of good matchups to fight into for the most part. He's playing pretty safe. He's not taking a ton of risks.
Yeah.
He's hitting a lot of good mid-range shots, which is really, that's the make or break.
That's
for
the high level.
A lot of these matchups is like, if I blink in there full health and my first shot that I'm landing is the one where I'm super close range, especially when you've got someone like Leon who's got her auto aim, you've got someone who's got, frankly, more immunity frames than you do in Xin. It can be difficult if you're not getting those miracle mid-range.
Bugsy just has the reveal, and this can be so potent. Unbelievable. Look how fast he is moving with Swift Spirits. Not as Vincier, actually. Fisheko taking a little bit of damage, and this one doesn't look to go his way. Bugsy has to clean this up. Unbi makes it to the corner. Billow from Creatives. He's in a bad spot. Mutu has an eye on that right side corridor, and his Bittner knows Creatives is lurking around here, but now he's not half health anymore. He's gotten healed up. Counter, blocks that gourd, again, buys him some more healing and time, and Spunky's doing a great job keeping his teammates healthy.
Not a lot of map control either way. Fnatic do have their Immortal available, and that's the only ultimate that's even close. So not a Sincere. That's your advantage here. That's your angle you need to play. Get some value for these ultimates. The Lightning comes out. It finds Fisheko, but he's easy enough to just wormhole on out of there.
Can you believe it? I mean, that's usually a kill. I mean, just 200 health down on her. I'm surprised she didn't fall. And I wonder, is there damage reduction? Is there something going on? Because that was usually a dead Eevee any day of the week. Fisheko gets taken down again by Mutu, who's controlling this right flank. Bugsy's next to fall, thanks to Creatives, and Navi have done it.
And I'm 90% sure that Spunky just had a massive stun in that fight that prevented Theo from actually getting his Immortal off. And if we could see a replay on that, I want to see if, because I thought he looked like he was stunned, and there's no reason for him to die with his ultimate up there. He comes back and has to hit this Immortal now, which is just a little bit of a stretch.
Unbi uses a a seismic crash to kill Bugsy, like near his own base, which is incredible. As Bittner buying a lot of time. He's been relatively silent in this game, despite how much noise Fisheko has made. Spunky, Phoenix, Mutu, they're not letting up. The Nodus Vincier, the world champions, are now only 2 points away from taking this set and claiming basically an absolute first place in this league.
No ultimates for Fnatic. Trying to hang on now on the defense. Now Humby's ready to contest for the high ground. He gets Void gripped up, eats a couple of shots from Lil Fishy. Not really in line of sight to get a lot of healing right now, but Mutu is.
I mean, I barely saw that. That didn't register, I don't think, visually. Well, look at this little visual update we've got. Who needs to look at cards or abilities? That was so interesting. I've never seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been...
We don't go into that often. It's probably the third option.
We don't.
It's the third option we never look at, huh?
Got some credits, you know.
Got some credits and one card.
Checking in. Cauterize 2 here. And 1,000 credits in hand.
And Bob, how's it going down there on Cauterize 2?
Look at that.
Well, 800 credits, 897, Jim. Oh, 905 now, Jim. We can get Cauterize 3. Thanks, Bob.
He dies, goes back to base. Here's Phoenix. Let you know what his financial situation is as well. He'll be ready to pick up record 3 when he goes home. If he goes home. He's not ready.
Let's see Spunky's little, okay. You know, walk me through this Chronos, Nick.
Well, you see, Chronos is an expensive item. It's 400 for the first tier and 800 for the second tier. 1,200 big ones for the final tier of Chronos. But Spunky, he's got the money to blow for a round. He's on the 9 streak, getting a lot of eliminations to anyone that he heals.
And he's got 1,800 credits, so that means he is basically 200 credits away from being able to get that full tier 3 when he goes back to base.
And there he goes. He's dead. Now he can spend it.
Now he can spend it. And it's Bittner with a 3 streak. Fnatic, not as sincere, seem to have kind of played so much exciting game of Paladins within the first 5-7 minutes of this matchup that the last two have been a little bit more of just no one's been able to make any headway.
Running into a little bit of a brick wall here, and you got to say, it felt like Fnatic were in control of that round pretty much until they weren't, and they never quite able to seize it back. Here comes the big commit, though, from Not Sincere, 2 for 1 so far with a couple of ultimates used.
Lux, he finds Phoenix, and what's this trade going to look like? Because he's got to get creatives, and he does. So this is really big to have the Cassie still snowballing this fight. Although Not Sincere are pushing with Unbelievable, Fisheko's going to stall out, buy some time for everyone on the side of Fnatic to just get together, and that combined damage is really just too much for one sniper and one healer with no supports to be able to handle. It's a 2-2. This next point means a lot. The one who captures it now has a chance to push and win the game.
And Fisheko here with feeling like the most impact. Get the Immortal. Not the Immortal I was actually talking about there. The life before this life, I'm pretty sure is when Dio would have wanted to use it, because that's when Fnatic still had control of the objective there. But I'm pretty sure Spunky hit it. I'm sure he'll tweet at us and let me know after the game if it was true. But Fnatic, Fisheko looking like he's having the most impact but doesn't have the best slash line. Bugsy with the most damage, and Bittner, we remarked, kind of like the quietest one. But overall, I mean, look at that. Still a smile on his face as he skitters down the stairs.
Yeah, that's how you feel when you walk in from like a 15-hour day and you just fall at home. You're just like,
bruh.
And he definitely has been putting in the work. And this is not a good spot for him to be in. Mutsu him, they know all the angles. And they're playing it to perfection. It is a game of chess. It is a game of cat and mouse.
Oh, he just barely
Sheko doesn't know, yeah.
He was right there. Here comes the Ice Storm. Mutu finds
He
it
got
on
him.
Fisheko, pins the little fairy to the wall.
And the prey becomes the hunter. The hunted becomes the hunter. And Mutu now finding 2 with the big headhunter. He could find 3. He just doesn't want to play it any more dangerously than he needs to. And he might, and he will.
Jeez.
Find Jera in the backside. Mutu with a huge round. 3 kills. And that's going to put Not Sincere in a great spot.
What a day for the Finn. He's looking absolutely dominant on Kinessa specifically.
Thread the needle.
And even on he's having those Mutu moments on Shaolin as well. Tying it up now, Not Sincere 2-2 on the scoreboard. Just about 10 to 15% ahead of their opponents on the point.
Sheko jumping back in. Again, there is still plenty of time. 78%. It's not a 99. They don't have to stand quite yet. Here's that spike from Creatives. He finds a double kill. This is bad. Triple kill for Creatives. He's going in. Wants the Quadra. The whirl. He finds it. Quadra kill for Creatives. And this is so simple. It just doesn't even look hard.
It just flied away, taking control of that fight. Not Sincere. Plenty of ammunition there. Mutu getting a lot of those started, but Creatives bangs them all home. 222. To end this World Finals rematch.
And it seems to be going the same way it did. A little bit of an improvement from Fnatic. I mean, a big improvement as far as making this a lot tighter in the early ones. But, you know, now NAVI have just kind of hit the gas pedal. And it comes out of nowhere. But here they are in full control.
Buck's going to go ahead and leap in. Very aggressive. I don't know what he's hoping to get done. 1v3 in the back line. Almost takes Spunky down with him. But it gets cleaned up for nothing. Forces out Enlightenment, too. A very healthy Phoenix using that Enlightenment, so doesn't get the killing blow. He'll be back to square one on it. Cleans up Fisheko. So much auto-aim. It's one of the better matchups against Eevee just because you don't have to worry about her soaring around and missing much. You can get a lot of guaranteed damage out.
A lot of space and time being bought from the Creatives counter, which means they can't really shoot at him and expect any damage to impact him significantly. They get a good burst onto Umbi, who now has to retreat and get some healing, and maybe they know that, so they're looking to lay in on him. Creatives does get disengaged away, and that helps, but it doesn't help enough. Bugsy, if he goes down here, it could spell trouble. Mutu trying to get out. He ends up doing so. He actually gets close to Fisheko, who cleans him up. They've got a hold, but remember, it's still a minute left on this objective before this round ends.
Fisheko just barely making it work there for Fnatic. 2 big killing blows. Looks for one more, can't quite find it around the corner. He'll go up top. Scan the field, get a little bit of information, and then come back to safety and disperse said intel to his team.
Still has the Seismic Crash available and Dread Serpent for NAVI. I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen them hit the gas pedal kind of unwittingly and catch people like Virtus Pro by surprise. I wonder if we'll see that happen here. I think it is a good opportunity to do so, but not with losing Spunky.
Ooh.
And Creatives.
Oh, baby.
And
there.
Mutu.
I thought he was going to get the 2 for 1 there. 2 kills. 1 shot. Bugsy finds Phoenix. Unbelievable. Juggled around. He's not accomplishing much on his own anyway. The payload sits close to conversion. But I don't know if the overtime is much of a reality or a possibility here for Natus Fnatic, especially with Unbe bringing up the rear.
I think I'm really looking more in this one. Will they start it? It looks like they will. Seems like they'll be able to get there. Now here's the issue. What can Fishy find? He finds Mutu there, and that's already a great sign. I think he could focus strictly on the healer. Expect that his team can handle what's left. Unbe now just basically feeding credits, feeding ultimate charge to the enemy team. And the rest of them know Spunky's just going to back off. Fisheko maybe trying to get him down, and I think they will. There it is. You know, but for me, it's Bittner. I think he has to step up, and he has been stepping up well. But they need that star-studded performance. Fisheko's like basically a 2 KDA right now, and it's showing. But Mutu's just been creatives as well. Everyone's had their star-studded round.
It's got to be that moment coming through here is the big quadra kill for creatives. Waiting for that world, gets to the back line. Ooh, yeah. That's a feels good man, too. Coming out of the world, knowing you've got your 3rd hit in your chain, ready and primed for Gara's face.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. I didn't realize you could do that as far as your abilities and kind of...
it's very generous, too. Like, it will hold your hit chain for you for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, you can count. I mean, I guess I found out today you can do it and counter and then still have that 3rd shot, which seems wide a bit. I think Bugsy fell. Not sure if he actually wanted to go stay on that top. Nice Immortal there, making sure he could still fight. He's got to get healed right now, though. That's the big one. Creatives finds a big kill, and all of Bugsy's damage has gone to Inara, which has soaked it up like a sponge and healed it back up thanks to Spunky.
Uh-oh. Doesn't have cooldown.
Has to get Phoenix here.
That was close.
Has to get him.
Up over the top. Reaching for those shots. Creatives have snuck up on him. Needing a heal. This fight could still go either way.
But Phoenix finds Steel as a result of being low, but being alive. Bugsy, big time play, tries to aim for the back line, ends up getting Creatives, who ends up dashing right into him, and that's a gift.
And hitting that disengage too puts Mutu in a bit of a panic. You could see he like missed his shot and then just immediately wanted to transport away. Then Fisheko cleans him up. Fnatic look like they have done just enough to win that fight.
Did Bugsy have the round? It was the standout performance that we were looking for. One team had to have a member go for it. Phoenix has been excellent on the Leon. We've seen him at incredible enlightenments tracking this EV down, and there's another one.
Baited.
Can't quite get it, and the blink gets him out of dodge.
Oh my goodness gracious, not exactly what you want to hear.
Mutu.
Bittner finds the kill
This
onto
shot.
Phoenix. 2 for 1 so far. Fisheko looking good. Fnatic looking like they want to take game 3 and force another game 5.
Are you kidding me? He survives
What's
and he
going on?
gets the kill? I don't understand. Mutu out of dead to rights. What an outplay. What a performance by Fnatic, Fisheko, and the rest of the squad to keep things going and send it to a game 5 here in this set to determine who's #1 in Europe.
Looking damn good, feeling good as well. It was a big ban earlier in the day, but Fisheko, I mean, not as sincere. I'm asking who's playing this. I know it's probably creatives, but when are we going to see the EV step up, banned out, picked away, something?
And that's the thing. When you ban out the Eevee, maybe the Mave comes in and plays a role, but I doubt it's going to be as effective as we saw Fishy be on that map. Let's send it back to the desk and get ready for the final game of today's set.
Man, oh man. 2 series so far today going to game 5.
I mean, we were talking about the other week having the finals that should have happened, as Bird had put it, but I feel like this is the finals that should have happened. The way Fnatic is playing this time around has definitely been a vast improvement over the last time we saw them go up against NAVI, and seeing them and the way things are going, it is incredible to see it go to game 5.
And, I mean, Fnatic as a team, if you look back at the way the last season went for them, then they came out top seed, right? They performed very well in this particular type of circumstance when they're going week after week in these head-to-head matches. But especially, you got to give a lot of this over to Fisheko in particular on the Eevee. Yeah, might get banned out. I don't know. That was just crazy stuff coming out of him.
My final notes were that, Bugsy, Bittner, they had their moments. They were definitely there. Fisheko, to me, was a big reason Fnatic was not only able to stay in that game, but able to win that game. Just so much of what he did was right. You can see, 20-9 at the end of the day. And even though, Creatives got a nice quadra, Kinessa with Mutu was insane, Fisheko was the one that was just so consistent across pretty much the entire slate of things that he was able to continually perform well to the point where now, like you said, like Evan said, what do we do with this Eevee? Do we let her through? Do we ban her? How do we deal with that?
It's making it look easy, as fluid as water going through it, but we do have a game number 5, and that is the question. You have to decide as a team. So, yeah, are we just going to take it off the table? I'm not sure. And a lot of it's going to, I think, depend on who first pick is as well, to try and figure out if they just want to pick up something like that first.
I feel like this map actually impacts a lot. I mean, both mentality-wise for these teams, where they go, how much practice have you had on one or the other, as well as just being able to kind of step up, because we've seen a lot of similarities in some of these old ones. I mean, you've been to Serpent Beach, Brightmarsh, Stone Keep, Frog Isle. Like, you've gone to every standard map that there is to go to, and now you're going to be going to Frozen Guard, changing things up just a little bit. Immediately, I love the Kinessa ban.
Yeah, so, nah, nix that. And Wreck is actually banned away as well, too. There is some high ground that you could really take advantage of here. Torvald, once again, not making it through. But interestingly enough, if you look at week 2 of the PPL with Torvald, when Torvald wasn't banned away, he wasn't necessarily picked either.
I feel like that's kind of been the same today.
Yep.
A lot of the times he slipped through, everyone was like, Torvald who?
Yeah.
What? Shields? Nobody cares about that. And it's interesting to see that he plays such a big role in the bans, and yet sometimes never actually impacts the game that comes afterward. I feel like this is one of those maps, and it might be a map-by-map jump, but because flanks can still be big here, he's still got a pretty big impact.
Yeah, I know at least for this set so far and the entirety of Fnatic versus Virtus Pro, Torvald has been banned away every game, so still some priority listed on that. Cassie with some more priority, but you got the 3 frontliners banned away, and then Kinessa banned away as well, so we might end up seeing something like a solo frontline.
You know, now that you mentioned that, it's Fnatic's ban every step of the way, so maybe that might just be kind of a legacy ban. I mean, he's still solid, but you're noticing other teams. I mean, it didn't come up a couple times in Mouse versus Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro haven't done it, NAVI haven't done it, and sometimes you have to wonder, is that because, you know, the other team's doing it for you so you don't have to, or is he losing his value? I haven't seen as much of an impact from him. Of course, if you do get, you know, Zen, Genos, Torvald all on one roster, you're not necessarily giving up the game, but it's definitely not going to be the best case scenario, or at least for the opponent of that roster. And being able to kind of split up the two that have so far been the combo, Genos, Zen, and keeping the Inara and the Cassie.
Leon's been Phoenix's champ of choice for a couple of these games so far, but this time it's going the way of Fnatic, and Buck a consistently strong pick for them as well. We all know who loves to navigate that champion in this, but if it's been working before, you might as well bring it through again.
And honestly, it's been going back and forth. Again, just looking back towards the last one. You don't get the Cassie, we get the Genos, a Buck, you get your Nando. Now Leon coming in, maybe kind of being the flex, the change up. Okay, someone that's like Cassie but not quite Cassie, as long as we can kind of fill that role. So I expect Leon to kind of try to slide into that area. And then you come into your last pick, and so far this has been Fnatic going for potentially a second flank. And, I mean, Eevee's available and open. Maybe they want to run back to it.
And the Shaolin was let through as well. Navi has been liking that pick for a couple of their members. And it's actually going to be Strix as the last lock-in. So saving that sniper for the tail end of it, one of them was already taken away, so that you can't risk a very specific pick to try to go into that.
A lot on the line. I mean, both of these teams right now, I think Fnatic technically, because of their match against Virtus Pro, have one more win overall. But these two came into this week even-footed. This one is the one that sets it up, and it all comes down to this last game.
Yeah, once again, it just comes down to one game in its entirety of who will walk away continuing to be undefeated and who is going to take their first L in this season of the PPL. Let's find out.
Well, I mean, it's all come down to one game. Throw away the best of 5s. It's a best of 1. Whoever wins on Frozen Guard moves ahead in this very crucial head-to-head matchup for the first place in Europe. I think that snipers are on the mind. And I think, you know, you see the ban from Kinessa, you see Eevee not even touched. No Maeve as well, which I thought maybe could have made an appearance. But you see a Strix, and I see a Zen, a Shaolin, and not a lot of ways to get to a Strix easily on this map.
And Bugsy, and playing around the new cover in this map, maybe that helps him a little bit. It's slightly easier to get to snipers nowadays. Not much. Curious to see who's put in the homework on this map. You know, this is going to be loser's pick, so not a Sincere. making the conscious decision to come here in Game 5.
We were on Twitter, and I know some people were talking about the fact that Frozen Guard is so exciting. This is where we ended our other best of 5, and what was cool about it is that, this is a new map. You do have to do your homework. Not everyone knows all the strats, and there are some things that you may see new here right now that no one's seen based on how these teams have put their time and practice in. It seems something that at least one of these squads are confident in. That would be NAVI, losing that last game. Selecting to go here for Sheko. He's had an incredible day. If he can keep it up on Leon, he's got to be looking very clear towards MVP in my eyes.
MVP in both sets of the doubleheader, man. Feels for Sheko.
It feels for Sheko, man.
Mutu's been an absolute monster in my eyes.
He
for
has.
Sincere.
Phoenix too, man. Incredible.
Yeah, definitely a big debut. Almost, it wasn't all weekend last weekend that Phoenix was playing DPS. So this is, in my eyes, in a lot of ways, his debut as a big DPS.
And he finds the first blood here. Onto his Bittner. I think maybe this is just aggressiveness from Fnatic not paying off. This is what they did last time on Serpent Beach. They ran, they got that full wipe, they lost one, but it doesn't seem like that's happening now. Unbelievable and Thiel still, Bugsy, still fighting out. Thiel not quite holding on to the objective for Fnatic. Not as Sincere have 39% and capturing.
They're not even like trying to flank Bugsy. They just sent Unbelievable to just chase him down and put a body in front of him, essentially, and then let the rest of this Not a Sincere lineup go to work.
It's an interesting strategy, and I think it's one that if it doesn't work and kill him, it buys space for Zen to close the gap, which is where the struggle is. Great stun there coming through from Spunky as well. Not as Sincere win this one real clean.
There it is, and now Genos not in a great spot. Was void gripping somebody, but still goes down. Mutu with the killing blow onto Thiel. And Not Sincere looking real strong. Fnatic have got some homework to do, some figuring out about how they want to approach this next point fight, because that did not go well for them.
From the start, there was no identity. The fights were weird and haphazard, and Phoenix got off to a great start. And that's one of the things that Shaolin brings. It's that he can get that first shot on you. And if you don't flare exactly where he's coming from, Bugsy flares to the left, expecting him to be in that area, but they come from a very different side of the map. And it catches Fnatic off guard, so they've got to find an answer. This is do or die for them. Defense already, 80% pushed.
Looking for the stun here, looking to poke on anyone right now. Bugsy's low, Pasheko's low as well. Bittner's low and dead. Not Sincere have not stopped moving so far in this game.
Boy, oh boy. This is a rough one to watch. You got to say what a competitive game it was prior. And this is looking anything but, as it's a 2-0 in less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds played.
Enlightenment comes out, doesn't get the killing blow. So Fasheko has to start at square one on his ultimate instead of 50%. I think he thought he was going to at least get his 50% back there or save the ultimate. I think that's really the two options. Don't really want to go out how it went. Nice couple killing blows down the stretch here, and Theo gets guillotined out. And I think that's the proper play.
And I think guillotine, when you look at multiple front lines, yes, you see there's a lot of value to do that. I think for the solo front line, it's the same, maybe even more value, because, that front line then means that much more to that team. Getting that one is getting 100% of the front lines out of the fight.
And Unbe gets Rejuve 3 on after just one round of play, so he's going to be absorbing a ton of healing. And with Maldamba backing him up, there's just no way Fnatic can fight through it this early in the game.
And you got to say, where's the long-range threat? What are they worried about? Through time and space, almost connects. Theo luckily makes it alive for the Immortal. Here's a Dread Serpent as well to make sure he can't put the shield up, and Phoenix slays Theo as they all look to aggress. Fasheko's got to make some big plays. Bugsy hasn't found the answer quite yet, and Phoenix, again, making big-time moves on his debut, essentially, as a full damage carry for Not as Sincere, and things couldn't be going more swimmingly.
Mutu swims his way to the back line, finds a triple kill for himself. No matter what he's played, a lot of Kinessa, some Shaolin, a little Cassie on the side. He's been an absolute animal today.
I can't believe this is what we're seeing after what a set. You have to say that this is disheartening as just an esports fan for Paladins to see it all fall this way. But they put in so much effort, and it's by no means over. But I haven't seen any plays made at all.
Got to figure it out here. Got to hold as well. Hop things are landing. He's week one Shaolin. He's already got
doing the hop thing
down
already. That took 2 years to figure out.
What a quick learner.
Phoenix, you really are impressing us. And for this, maybe I will nerf Vivian.
Oh, man. Vivian, man. What happened to her? Where's she been?
I don't know, man.
She can kind of stay dead and competitive, though, in my eyes.
Yeah. Hey, booby trap Vivian.
Hey.
Seen some action there. Phoenix is on a 5 streak. He's been so good for not a Sincere. Although we thought we were heading into maybe an epic game, it's been less than 4 minutes played because of the 50 seconds before the game starts that count on the clock. And it's almost a 4-0.
Jordy, juke him. Jordy, dude. Ducks a whole clip, and hopefully that buys enough time for Fnatic to get something going on the defense here. 1 for 1 so far, but this is do or die for black and orange.
Oh, no. Mutu getting healed in the gourd. It just feels like maybe it's insurmountable at this point. It's Bittner. Can he find it? A big headshot.
Boy.
Unbe super low. Can they get around the corner? I mean, he's got to have 1 health, and Jera makes sure that health goes to 0. So they have finally stopped Not as Sincere. It's been 5 minutes of non-stop NAVI doing whatever they want.
And now finally something getting going for Fnatic. Bittner finds that 1 kill and distracts 3 people for a decent little chunk of time there. And that was just enough of a window for Fnatic to get their feet under them, get themselves picked up, cleaned up. Another flare will go out. Information being gained. Don't know if it actually broke the corner there. Smelling something brewing here on the right-hand side.
And there's a lot of threat coming through from Phoenix. Unbe as well, just poking, prodding. You know, when you have a Zen as well, it's so consistent the amount of damage that he's just able to do. It feels oppressive to fight against. Fisheko is very low. And here's the Dread Serpent from Spunky. It's rolling in. They've got a healer. They've got a front line. But Fnatic has Fisheko and it's Bittner who find a couple kills. But watch out. Unbe's still on the point. You can't get isolated there. And he does find at least a kill on the Enlightenment. Bugsy finding a good couple of shots on the Spunky. And it looks like this may just hold.
Fisheko, some real hitbox hours there with his Enlightenment coming through.
Real hitbox hours.
That's a big projectile, though. And a big old Paladins hitbox to help him out of a rough situation. And you could see the hesitation. It's like he almost knew before he hit the button that Phoenix wasn't going to make himself very available for that Enlightenment. But stars align there.
Wow.
He's 2 and 7, falling a fair bit after the slash line he put up in game number 4.
I mean, it can't get much worse.
No, certainly not.
I mean, for Fnatic, you got to say we could play. Like anything we do will be better than what we've done.
Yeah.
So let's try this.
You know, and I mean, Bugsy's he's hanging in there, 6 and 2, but Fisheko and Bittner, the 2 and 7 slash lines for the 4 and 14 is not what you need out of them down the stretch here, and maybe try and bring the fight to where Bugsy can
engage in it,
be a big part of it, right? It's been a lot of this plateau fighting, and Bugsy's going to bring the fight to Not as Sincere instead.
So smart. Now you got vision. You're not going to get jumped on. And this is really, really important. They can move and they have all the awareness. They know exactly where they are. Phoenix gets pressured out. He's going to get healed up, though. But look at this. This is just a great corral. However, they're not capitalizing damage-wise. Bugsy finds creatives, and that is really huge. But they're fighting in the gourd. Spunky has just been a phenomenal support player right now.
They've got comeback mechanic, but they haven't been able to use it. More information. They don't need any more info. They need kills, and they need them now.
And Thiel has to go to the point. That's where the fight needs to be. Great shot there, and Mutu will fall thanks to Thiel. Here's the Immortal as well. Fisheko has to make some money moves here. If he can't, this is going to be a hard fought fight. He goes down thanks to Unbelievable.
Oh, there's the Buckwild we needed to see. Hits every single shot. Gets his Luminary on all of those as well. Bittner finally finds a big old shot, and Cardi B would be proud.
And I think at this point, you can see Fnatic have found an answer. Is it enough? We thought it was over. Fnatic have pulled it back. Things getting a little bit more tense, a little more exciting here on Frozen Guard in Game 5 for the #1 seed in Europe.
And almost playing this this Leon like it's still a flanker. The flanker blood is in Fisheko's bones. And he's struggling to find some value there, but it was Bugsy that almost flushed kills into he and Bittner. That was really the only value that they got.
I mean, I don't know why he's so close. I mean, I think, you know, play this more snipery. I think that's Fisheko's having a real issue, and he's getting in. And it's just not
It's who he is.
I know. Sometimes, yeah.
You can take the fish off the flanker, but you can't take the flank out of the fish.
Flank out of the fish. That's an old one. I think that's an ancient Ancient quote there.
Ancient Sumerian
Yeah,
quote.
that's Mesopotamian right there.
128 left, boys, as we head into the cradle of life
Wow.
for this ancient matchup between Fnatic and NAVI.
Where it all began. Riverbed of the Nile. Great story of a young fish.
There he is.
And there he is now. He's developed into the scion of House Ico. Excited to see the Primus of House Ico soon. And a minute left. Leon can't wait to get this thing over with, but hopefully come back with victory for the Magistrate rather than defeat against the Resistance.
Big old Spunky there. He's always finding some key frags and some key
Nice
little
shot.
moments for the support. In fact, just looking for a way in. Payload
Good
is
shots.
obviously within striking distance here. One more shot. Oh, would have been good on the Mutu, but he gets behind cover, and Creatives gets right where he needs to be to go to work.
I think
But
he's
look
been,
at all that healing.
He's been the biggest issue, man.
Does Creatives not have caught?
I don't know. I think Creative's been the biggest issue here for them, and I think Spunky, he's the enabler. He's the catalyst right there. Creatives
He does have caught.
does have cauterized.
Is he just whiffing?
Might have been. I mean,
Is he?
it
'Cause
looked like they were in each other's hitboxes. You know, getting
Pretty
a little.
much,
It
yeah.
was like PG, a little past PG-13 there.
Getting after it. 13 seconds on the clock. Theo, nice little thread the needle from Creatives just to make sure that front line falls. Fnatic, at this point, they're here. They're going through the motions.
Yeah, you let it go. You let this go. If you're Fnatic, you 100% let this go. You don't waste a thing. You fight with an increased objective capture. God knows you need it. They have not looked the better team in this fight overall in the set, but they have had moments. Again, stat lines showing really the story of today, at least on Frozen Guard. 6 and 10 for Fasheko, 3 and 8 for Thiel, Bittner 4 and 9, Bugsy 10 and 2.
It's pretty wild that he didn't actually die there in the mines. Bugsy on the 14 streak. It's up to Bittner and Fasheko to find something to do, really. And, you know, it is a team effort still, right? Bugsy, it's going to be a big boon to him and his squad if he can find those initial shots, because as it currently stands, they just haven't been able to afford to push blindly into that back line. The way that NAVI are playing is not very spread out. They're all kind of there and could collapse on you at a moment. You could see Bittner, even when there's like half-health targets, he's pretty hesitant about like wanting to jump all the way into these fights.
And the deadliness of Strix it's more of a pervasive. I look at him the way that Zen is a flank, to where it's just damage coming at you, and it's always there, and he knows where you are, and it's hard to escape. Kinessa, I feel, has a little bit more of that deadly nature to her. Her ultimate giving her that big finishing potential. Strix doesn't have that. You got to take ambush if you want the extra damage on your sniper shots, and most people don't do that. Plus, sometimes, you know, you run an Eagle Eye or something that's going to really pop in. I think Bugsy's just missing the lethality in terms of really changing a TTK for someone big in these fights. Mutu, Creatives, and Phoenix, I got to give it to them. They're working like a team with Spunky here to stay healthy, even if they get bursted low.
They're all sticking around, and that's just the nature of this Fnatic composition, right? They've got some backline. They've also got a flanker, right? And right now they're sending, whether it's the choice or not, or whether that's just the way Fasheko plays, he's more often with Bittner up flanking than he is in the backline with Bugsy trying to poke from a distance.
Oh, through time and space could happen here, but you know what? I don't mind that Jera holds it. He's got to keep the astral marks on. There it is! Oh my God! Oh, quadra kill from Jera, and he turns the tide of the game, slaying Creatives, Phoenix, Mutu, and unbelievable, it's a full team wipe on the side of Natus Vincere, and Fnatic might have just won this point.
Nice on Gera. Absolute obliteration of Natus Vincere. The world champions do not know what hit them.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I've never seen a better through time and space than the one we just witnessed here. Game 5, nonetheless, in the battle for first place in EU. I'm going crazy right now, and you can see Fasheko, if he lands this, he's going to have something to write home to mom about as well, and that's Spunky cleaning it up, but I think the damage has been done, Nick.
Fnatic trying to step up here. Natus Vincere, they're clawing this one back. Bittner finds yet another kill. Big Dread Serpent from Spunky. Is it enough to bring it back?
Oh no, Spunky, he's getting rounded out with its Bittner here, trying to find the headshot. He finds the net as well. Gotta get him, and he slays him. Can't get around the corner. Umbi still fighting. This guy's so tanky, so consistent, and now, despite Fnatic having that wonderful moment, do they let it slip?
Maybe not here. Unbelievable is going to fall. Creatives trying to exit stage left.
There it is.
And Phoenix will fall. Fnatic not out of the woods yet. They need to push this all the way, or we're going the full distance.
Jera says, you know, if you want to stay all grouped up for that gourd, let me show you what else goes well with that on top. A through time and space sends you all back to base. How about that? I don't want to just send one of you. I'll send all 4 of you. You guys like staying together. So let's make that a thing. And
I think we got a nice little clip to update Gara's team intro with. instead of that NAEU
exactly.
Pug nonsense we had going on for
I
him.
think we do. I think we do.
Woo-hoo. It's like you saw it, Spectator gives you a great view. It was like lining up, and you're just like, it's there.
Yeah.
Is this actually going to happen? Boom. Oh, my God.
Everyone was below the 2,400 health threshold at that time. I mean, wild stuff. And that wouldn't have happened to Moldova
They should have let him
ago.
have the Penta, too, man.
They should have.
Come on, bro.
Jordy Jera with the downtown. That's a Steven Gerrard long-range bomb if I've ever seen it. Now Fnatic in the driver's seat. With all that momentum, you got to say this is going to be a hard one. Not as Sincere cannot be feeling good after having that just decidedly ruin their point fight.
Puts them on the back foot here.
No. Yeah, good.
Does panic set in for Not a Sincere? Do they keep a cool head? They've got a minute left to defend in this round. Just using a scout there, seismic crash at 50%. And you'll see even in these situations, these top tier pro players start to slow down, not really take any risks. Almost like they both already know that this is going to the next point fight.
And I think that's going to be a different story, right? When you have that comeback mechanic not in your favor. This is a big conversation piece for the NIP Fnatic matchup, where NIP were doing quite well and actually in the lead in many games, but Fnatic just used that comeback mechanic to get back in it.
How is he alive right now? Fnatic, if they get more in this fight, this could turn into a really sour situation here. Has his ultimate available. Does he want to use it? Fishy somehow is just slithering and swimming his way out of trouble time and time again.
And I can't believe this right now. Mutu is really low, and Bugsy knows it. Double kill for Bugsy. He's going to slay the third here. Spunky falls. Theo grabs the credit for that, and it's Bittner picks up Phoenix. It's a full wipe, but Fnatic going to steal the show here and push it in.
Is this it? I mean, Unbelievable is dying. The payload crushes his wall. He's falling fast, Evan.
Do you use your ultimates? That's the thing. I think they're full committing here. Immortal from Theo. He wants to keep everyone alive. This is for first place in Europe. And through time and space as well from Jera is trying to seal the deal, but it doesn't seem to have gotten a kill yet. Phoenix falls there with that one.
Jedi mind tricks for Bittner. He finds the invisible Shaolin, recovers up, trying to keep himself healthy. This payload is inches from conversion.
See you later, Mutu. One more remaining. That's the only man in his way. The damage is too real, but it's Bittner. Finds the angle, gets the kill, and Theo has to keep his team alive, although it's not seeming to work. Overtime does tick away. The Immortal exhausted, the flare used, the through time and space no longer available, and Fnatic have basically thrown it all out.
But so did Navi, for the most part. Creatives holds on to Spite there. Their scout almost available, but they went for the throat there. Fnatic smelled redemption in the air and just barely fall short.
And you have to say, what a gamble. Didn't pay off, but it was worth taking. And I think if you didn't take it maybe and you lost next round, you might have said, I felt bad about that.
I'm happy with that risk, too. You got to go for it there. Gara's rich, 1,900 credits. He's got money to blow. He's got his kill to heal, too, which could be big. You know, when people are getting those eliminations, and anyone that he's got tagged up with a heal is finding an elimination over to him, and he's getting 600 health back for it.
Now they've got to split up, and I think, just intentionally, you have to understand that they're going to be more aware of grouping, and that is going to hurt everything. And it's Bittner says, it's my turn to shine. It's been Jera. I've seen a little bit of Bugsy, but let me show you what I can do on the buck. Let me bulk up here. Creatives finds him, ends the monologue, but Fisheko ends up cleaning up the dirty work, and that's just so good from them. They needed this, and now he's got it all.
Go, baby. Gets on the objective as well. Gets a lot of ultimate charge. Moves off to zone as well. Fishy knows the work is not done. Can't lose this one. We want to Mutu. Gotta be careful there. Gets a couple of key dismounts.
2.
Fnatic 48% and climbing. Is this enough? I think there's going to be an overtime here.
I don't think he got an Aura. I don't think he got Unbi, and Unbi's close. That's the one you would have wanted to make walk all this way. They may be able to touch 81% in spite use from Creatives just to be able to touch here. Enlightenment, he wants to pop off. Fisheko, though, doesn't need to, as Theo finds Unbelievable.
One of the best sets coming down to the wire now. Overtime started in favor of Fnatic. He hits him with the dunk. Big shots connecting.
Grace, Valor, Enlightenment, present. She's got it all, and guess what else? She's got first place in Europe in the PPL. Fnatic, they steal the crown, and Theo ends it all with a laugh. And he's got to be smiling back at home because they just did what we all thought was unthinkable at the start of that game.
The world champions have been defeated. Fnatic takes first seed in Europe in the Paladins Premier League Season 2, and what a way to seize redemption.
What a way, what a game, you know, and you wouldn't have wanted that amazing, that legendary through time and space to have resulted in a loss.
Yeah.
At that point, you almost said, that's it. That's the moment where he hits the shot and you say,
Can we get Jordy back on the phone? Now I want that interview.
Now we want that interview because you got to imagine he'd have some different words for Goremizer.
Oh, man.
That's it from us for this set. What an amazing one. Let's send it back to the desk to wrap it up.
Holy crapola. That was an amazing set across the board, but that game took a complete 180 after the first round.
I looked up 5 minutes in, 2-0, they get a 3. I'm like, this is going to be this game's done. This was such a boring end to it all. And Fnatic just was like, hold on 1 second. Let us get a quadra kill with one ult, one ability, one through time and space. Jera. Just Jera.
Man, it was just, I mean, if you go all the way back to the beginning of that where Fnatic was just having some very awkward fights and then their double kills coming from unbelievable, but then so many great moments from Fnatic that they had to be pretty flawless. And Jera in particular, that quadra kill that came out, and that was the game changer going into actually capturing that point and then allowing Fnatic to open themselves up for that victory.
That is the dream. Like, there were several moments throughout this entire set where you saw Bugsy do something in crazy. You saw just insert a member of Fnatic do something that was impressive. That was hands down, I think, the most impressive moment we're going to have of the day. And that's that's still with NAVI and NIP on the board. Jera just did everything his team needed and more. And you could not dream of a better lineup than that.
Jeez, that was insane. And even seeing it in slow motion is even better.
Main right there. Just
so
I can't even describe what it is on cast.
But, I mean, he and the rest of the team, and that's the thing, when we were talking, we were like, Fisheko had some great moments. Let's give props to him. Or, hey, you know what, Bugsy, look at that 14 streak right there. Ah, nice Buck Wild from Bittner. And then Jera, phew.
Literally steals the show. Literally took it all. Because that was one of the things. I mean, we were talking about, like you said, MVP. And it's like, man, so many people. And for a little bit there, we were looking at the beginning of that game, we're sitting there talking about NAVI. We're sitting there saying, who on NAVI is going to get MVP this game? Because it looks like they're going to clean sweep it.
Yeah.
So not only being able to take it over other members of his team, but being able to steal the full thing for the set, that was impressive. I had props to him for being able to get that. That was a dream come true for him.
Yeah, so congratulations to Fnatic for securing themselves as the only team remaining as an undefeated team, #1 seed so far in the PPL, and with the rematch from the PWC. I'm sure it feels amazing for all of them to be able to go head-to-head once again against the same exact NAVI roster and be able to defeat them.
Just happy as they could be and being able to go forward. Now, NAVI, they have to play another set after that. I mean, you can't come out of that without being mentally exhausted. Now you have to play another one against a team that maybe is slightly under Fnatic overall, but they're still at that same caliber.
Yep, so taking a look at the schedule and what we do have to come, it's only one more set to go, and that's between NIP and NAVI. So NAVI coming off of that loss, but boy, was it a tight set. And NIP, even though they got the victories last week, still have something to prove.
A lot on the line. I mean, obviously, they're now defeated. They are not going to be able to go through this without taking a loss, but this is the chance to at least try to step up a little bit and kind of keep the numbers in their favor. They have to find this. NIP, I think, on the other hand, really need this win, and this is probably the best time to take on NAVI.
All right, everybody, we're going to kick it to a break, and when we return, we'll have that last set for you, so see you then.
Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? you call? So many years